Chapter 837. Mu Qiqi wanted to take a leave of absence, and Xianxia personally went to the school to handle the procedures for her. This surprised the dean. "Co Xing, Qiqi has been studying well. Why is it so sudden? She's sick and needs to rest." Xianxia did not mention the pregnancy. After all, he was already worried about this precious treasure of his before she was pregnant. Now that she was pregnant, her safety was even more of a headache. If it's very serious, then she does need to rest. I really didn't expect such an outstanding child like Qiqi. The dean could not help but sigh. No, it should be said that it was a pity. When she recovers, she will come back. Feng Xianxian had left, and now Mu Qiqi had left. Although the dean felt that it was a pity, there was nothing he could do. Also, I hope that you can handle this matter in a low-key manner. Okay, I understand. The dean nodded in understanding. Mu Qiqi was a famous person to begin with. If she suddenly did not come to class, it would definitely cause criticism from others. Don't worry, Co Xing. Xianxia personally settled the matter before returning to Zhongting. He asked his secretary to spare 2 days. After giving instructions, he brought Su Che back to the banyan courtyard. Papa Xing was working in Zhongting. Mama Xing and fifth aunt were preparing lunch at home. When they saw Xianxia, they were a little surprised. "Eighth brother, you rarely come back at noon." Xianxia did not answer his mother's question. Instead, he turned to fifth aunt and said, "Don't prepare any ingredients that are not good for pregnant women." "Co Xing, are you going to give Miss Feng a tonic?" Fifth aunt misunderstood. "It's Qi-er," Xianxia answered, standing at the entrance of the kitchen. Then he saw the 2 women in the house petrified. Mama Xing immediately reacted. "Eighth brother, do you mean that Qiqi is pregnant?" "I went for a checkup this morning." "It's been more than a month," Xianxia answered calmly. When Mama Xing saw this, she pushed him to the side and said, "Are you serious? Usually looking at you, I thought you would have to wait a few more years. Why is it so sudden? Although it's an accident, don't you want a grandson?" Xianxia frowned slightly when he saw Mama Xing's strange attitude. "What are you saying? You bastard. I just feel that it's unfair for Qiqi to be a mother at such a young age." Mama Xing couldn't help but hit her son. "Since you have it, of course it's the family's treasure. Momda really cares about this child. Help her." "She doesn't care about the child. He cares about you. Do you think women like to have children? Isn't it all for the man she loves? She wants the 2 of them to have the crystallization of their love." Mama Xing rolled her eyes at him. "You should also treat Qiqi well. She's your flesh and blood. Love her well." "I know. No one else knows about this, right?" Mama Xing asked him. Since he just came back from the hospital, it meant that he had not told anyone. "No. Then let's not talk about it for now. We'll talk about it after 3 months. I was wondering why you came back in the middle of the day. Go and accompany her. I thought Qiqi was on leave today. Speaking of which, what about the school?" Remembering that Mu Qiqi was still a university student, Mama Xing slapped her son again. "Mu Qiqi couldn't even go to school because of you. I've already arranged for her to take a break from school. When the child is born, Qi-er can go back to school." This was Mama Xing's worry at the beginning. She thought that Mu Qiqi was young and the 2 of them couldn't be synchronized in this aspect. She was also prepared to be a grandmother a few years later. Who knew that Mu Qiqi would give her such an exciting one? "Mom, thank you for the trouble. You're my son. What else can I do?" After saying that, Mama Xing turned around and returned to fifth aunt. "It seems that we have to make this meal again." Fifth aunt chuckled. In fact, she knew that Mama Xing was very happy. "Madam, it's a happy occasion for the family to have a child." "Who said it isn't? It's just that Qiqi has wronged that child. If I were her, I would never give birth to 8th brother's child in my life." Although she said that, Mama Xing still went out immediately to buy some fresh vegetables at the mall. Pregnant women needed to be taken good care of. Mu Qiqi lay on the bed at home and felt like she was dreaming. When she saw Feng Xianxian pregnant before, she was envious to the bone. Now she actually had one herself. Moreover, the baby came without any warning. Thinking of this, Mu Qiqi lowered her head and looked at her abdomen. "Baby, to tell you the truth, Mommy wanted to give birth to your father's child when I was 17. Do you know how much Mommy likes him? Although you came very suddenly, how do you understand Mommy's inner needs so well? You came just like that. Your father can't do anything to us at all. Mu Qiqi was talking to herself in the room while Xianxia stood at the door and eavesdropped. I'm not that helpless against you. Hearing this familiar voice, Mu Qiqi blushed and looked at the door. Why are you back? Xianxia walked in front of Mu Qiqi and hugged her to sit on his lap. His expression became serious. Since you want this child, you can't be as willful as before. You can't hit people anymore. I didn't know at that time. Mu Qiqi knew that Xianxia was hinting at her to slap phone when. The school has already completed the procedures for you. If I suddenly don't go to school, the school will definitely have a lot of speculations. Mu Qiqi felt that she didn't want so many people to know that someone was now eyeing the Xing and Shen families covetously. She didn't want to be so high profile and become a target for others to threaten Xianxia. The school will help cover it up. There's no need to worry. Xianxia hugged her and looked at her. A 17-year-old girl suddenly grew up and was about to become a mother. He seemed to be unable to adapt to this change. You want to give birth to my child at 17? You're very bold. I know what you're thinking. You think that I'm still young and can still enjoy my youth. There's no need to be tied down by a child. But Xiao, let me tell you, in my heart, if I can have a child like you and be with you every day, I will feel that it's a different life. Life is full of changes. Who said that a girl's youth should be free? With a child, I can also enjoy my youth. So don't always feel guilty about me. You're not a fish. How can you know the joy of a fish? Xianxia stared at this thing carefully and felt relieved. At the same time, he felt proud. How infatuated was this thing with him that she was so brave that she wasn't even afraid of giving birth to a child. Just thinking about it made his body react. Chapter 838. Xianxia pressed the little thing down with a calm expression. If you mess around again, I'll deal with you somewhere else. Mu Qiqi did not dare to act rashly. However, when she thought about not being able to have sex for 10 months, could this man hold back? Xiao, it's only the first day and you're already so angry. How can you stand it for 10 months? What do you want to say? Just say it. Xianxia looked at it with a faint smile. Did it think he couldn't tell that there was a hidden meaning in its words? What if you want it? I've heard that men are most likely to cheat when a woman is pregnant. Xingzhao's gaze slowly moved from Mu Qiqi's little face to her chest. You should be a lot bigger after you get pregnant, when the time comes. Old hooligan. Mu Qiqi quickly covered her heart and said. Are you still afraid? This time Mu Qiqi was serious. She reached out and hugged him. I believe in my man. He's a picky eater. Not everyone can catch his eye. Let's go to the Shen family in the afternoon. It was one thing to hide it from the others, but it was impossible to hide it from the two elders. Mu Qiqi had no objection. She believed that her father and grandfather would be happy for her. Xiao, I really have your baby. A baby that belongs to both of us. Yeah. Xingzhao's tone was indifferent. I'm really happy. Idiot. The child had just been placed in Mu Qiqi's belly, so Xingzhao did not have such a strong feeling. He only knew that this little thing must not be touched in the future. It was his rare treasure. During lunch, Mama Xing kept telling Mu Qiqi about the precautions of pregnancy. After all, she knew how bold this child was. But now was a special period. Mu Qiqi had to be extra careful. Mu Qiqi remembered everything in her heart. Who asked her to care about this child more than Xiao? After lunch, Xingxiao held Mu Qiqi's hand and walked to the Shen family's house to digest the food. Huang Yu and Xin Jianchuan were not at home. Grandpa Shen was fishing at the fish pond as usual. When he saw the two of them, he felt a little strange. Eighth brother, is the company so free? You actually came to see me at this time. Don't blame him. He did it to accompany me, Mu Qiqi said cheerfully. Why don't you go to school? The old man twisted his body and looked at the young couple. His expression suddenly became anxious. What happened? It's okay. You don't have to be so nervous. Mu Qiqi quickly waved her hand. It's just that you're going to be a great-grandfather. After hearing that, Grandpa Shen understood what Mu Qiqi meant. Then he put down the fishing rod and looked at Mu Qiqi's belly. You're pregnant? Yeah. Mu Qiqi nodded. Old 8 speak. Grandpa Shen seemed to think that Mu Qiqi's words were not trustworthy. This child liked to joke, so he asked Xingxiao instead. Xingxiao did not say anything but nodded to show that it was true. That's a good thing. This is my first great-grandson. Grandpa Shen was delighted. But after a while he frowned and pointed at Xianxia. Eighth brother, come with me to the study. Wuxia was stunned for a moment. Why did this person suddenly turn hostile? Wuxia watched as the two entered the study. She did not know what Grandpa Xing wanted to say to Xiao. A man's heart was like a needle at the bottom of the ocean. In the study, Grandpa Xing paced back and forth with his hands behind his back. No matter how he thought about it, he felt that something was wrong. Eighth brother, you're too selfish. How old is Xiaoqi? Just let her. Grandpa, it's my fault. I couldn't protect her well. Xianxia did not explain. But there's one thing I can promise you. Whether she gives birth or not, I won't use anything to restrain her. Grandpa Xing believed that too. Compared to Xiaoqi, he had watched Xianxia grow up. This child used to be frivolous and did things based on his mood. But after being with Wuxia all these years, he had become mature and steady. Moreover, he knew how much Xianxia doted on his baby. Of course, I'm happy that she's pregnant. I just need to emphasize one thing, and that's safety. You know that there are people eyeing our two families now. I don't want Xiaoqi to take this disaster at this juncture. I don't plan to announce it to the public until Qi gives birth to the baby. During this period, let Qi claim that she's sick, Xianxia replied. Yes, this is the safest way at the moment. Not letting others know would reduce the attention of others. You young people should arrange these things yourselves. But don't forget what you promised me. You can't let Qi suffer any grievances. I know. The two of them did not stay in the study for long. But it was enough for Wuxia to stretch her head. After a while, the two of them came out of the study. Wuxia quickly went up to him. Grandpa, do you blame Xiao? Don't blame him. It's me who wants to keep this baby. He thinks I'm still young. You. Grandpa Xing nudged her head. You're going to be a mother soon. You can't be like before and do whatever you want. Eighth brother spoils you, but you have to know your limits. I know, Wuxia replied as she touched her head. I know. Tell your father later. Then take good care of yourself and give birth to a healthy baby. Do you understand? Grandpa, don't worry. When that time comes, the whole family would treasure this child. Wuxia could already imagine that she might not be able to hold her own child in the future. Grandpa Xing snorted and returned to his world. Wuxia looked at Xianxia and said, I want to wait here for Dad to come back and tell him the news personally. If you have something to do in Zhongting, go and do it. You won't worry about me staying with the Xing family, right? I came out for 2 days just to accompany you. I'm only worth 2 days for you to come out for. Little one, don't be too proud. I'll find a book to record everything you've done. When you give birth, I'll settle everything with you one by one. Xianxia hugged her, but there was a sporadic smile at the corner of his mouth. I don't believe you can bear to. The two of them waited in Xin Jianchuan's antique room. Half an hour later, they saw Xin Jianchuan coming back. Dad. Xin Jianchuan glanced at the two of them. He was also puzzled. After a moment, his gaze moved down to Wuxia's lower abdomen. This person was more meticulous than the old man. He knew that if it were not for this situation, the two of them would not have waited for him here at this time. You're going to be a mother? Why are you so wise? Wuxia immediately praised. We don't even need to say anything. Chapter 839. It's been more than a month, Wuxia answered proudly. Xin Jianchuan glanced at the two of them. Finally, his gaze landed on Xianxia. Come with me. No, don't you all have to capture Xiao for a talk? Wuxia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, Xin Jianchuan didn't want to scold Xianxia. Instead, he handed the information he had brought back to Xianxia. It's good that you're here. It saves me the trouble of making another trip. Although these grudges have nothing to do with the Xing family, you're now the son-in-law of the Xin family, Qiqi's husband, and soon the father of the child. There are some things you have to know. Xianxia took the information from Xin Jianchuan and slowly opened it. More than 20 years ago, when the old man was still a brigade commander in the army, he once carried out a special military order to escort a very important researcher to a military base 300 miles away from Jianchuan. However, during the process something went wrong and he fell into the enemy's ambush. At that time, the Song family was a well-known local entrepreneur, but they colluded with criminals and hid the researcher in their home. The old man was ordered to rescue the hostage, but the Song family framed him many times and almost took his life. In the end, the old man completed his mission. However, the Song family suffered heavy casualties. At the end of the day, they were just ordinary people. But the Song family did extraordinary things. So in the end, their fate was not unjust. More than 20 years have passed and so many things have happened in Jianchuan recently. Although the Xin family has made many enemies because of second brother, it's not impossible to say that it's because of the grudges from more than 20 years ago. I've gone to find out. There were a total of 5 people in the Song family at that time. 4 of them were lying in the cemetery and the other one is missing. I'm telling you all this now because I hope that you can be more vigilant. After all, Xiaoqi is pregnant now. If the other party uses her as a target, it's equivalent to strangling our throats. Xianxia closed the information and already knew what to do. I know what to do. Xiaoqi is pregnant. Take good care of her. Don't be like her mother. With that, Xin Jianchuan patted Xingzhao's shoulder. Actually, I shouldn't be worried. Everyone can see how much you love Xiaoqi. Outside the room, Mu Qiqi was already waiting impatiently. She was the one who was pregnant, not Xiaoxiao. Why were they all asking Xiaoxiao? Just as she was about to knock on the door, the 2 of them finally walked out of the room. Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes at Xingxiao. Scolded again? Looks like I need to go to that loudspeaker and shout, I want this child, it has nothing to do with you. How is it not related? Isn't he the father of the child? Xin Jianchuan glared at her. You're already going to be a mother, yet you're still so willful. I'm being wronged. How am I willful? Mu Qiqi pointed at her nose and asked. All of them knew that she was pregnant and dragged her husband away. How could they talk to her? Alright, let's go home. Xingxiao took the folder and held Mu Qiqi's hand. As they walked home, Mu Qiqi could not help but think. Xiaoxiao, do you all think that I shouldn't have this child? No one said that. You're overthinking it, Xingxiao replied calmly. Then if you were 2 years older, everyone would have let nature take its course. However, since you're already pregnant, everyone is very happy. After hearing this, Mu Qiqi was finally satisfied. She was pregnant and her emotions had become sensitive. She was not so suspicious in the past. Just now, Dad told me a few things. I want to find out if it's related to Bai Sini's case. So, from tomorrow onwards, I'll announce that you're seriously ill and have to stay at home to recuperate. This also means that you won't be able to go out in the future until the child is born. Mu Qiqi stopped in her tracks when she heard this. If Xingxiao felt that it was serious, then she could not be willful. Then, can we go to Feng Shanshan's house? Try not to. If you want Dad and I to be at ease. Mu Qiqi opened her mouth and realized that something big might have happened. She nodded. I know the severity. I've already said that I'm not a burden to you. Since you don't let me go out, I won't go out. I'll stay at home and take care of the baby. If there's a chance, I'll take you out for a walk. Got it. Mu Qiqi nodded. She could not do anything at this time. Of course, if the time is right, I still hope that you can tell me about this. I can also know what we're guarding against. Xingxiao did not say anything. He just patted Mu Qiqi's head dotingly. When he figured it out, he would consider telling this little one. For an entire month, Sheng Bowen had been declared innocent, but Sheng Kai was still curled up in this small Chongrong electronics. After he fell out with Gu Xiling, he did not go back and Gu Xiling did not appear either. A month ago he had received a certain message from a certain person, but at that time he had ignored it. However, he could not deny that during this month, his heart had often been in turmoil, because he did not know what choice he should make. During this month, Jinbo did not contact him, but Sheng Kai knew that Qingbin was working for Jinbo. Jinbo had even sent other helpers. Tharga was Tengyan. The afternoon weather was already very hot. Sheng Kai thought that at least for the time being he should not see Gu Xiling. However, he did not expect that she would directly rush to the company and be aggressive. Sheng Kai, look at what you've done. Gu Xiling threw the phone with the chat history open in front of Sheng Kai. Why are you here again? Sheng Kai did not even bother to look at her. I've always turned a blind eye to you messing around outside. Now that you've gotten your mistress pregnant, she's already here. What do you want me to do? Without another word, Sheng Kai looked for the security guard. Drag Gu Xiling out of my office. Sheng Kai, do you still want our marriage? Whoever wants it can take it, Sheng Kai answered directly. You scum. Without me you're nothing. How dare you have a child with another woman behind my back? How dare you give birth to one? Xianxia, let me tell you, I'll definitely make you wish you were dead. Xianxia did not react to Gu Ziling's warning because he had already given up. This woman's humiliation was endless. From the beginning, the two of them should not have taken marriage seriously. Besides, wasn't it difficult for him to get a woman pregnant? If it was true that someone was pregnant with his child, he would definitely divorce Gu Ziling and remarry her. Chapter 840. That night Xianxia came out of the company. As soon as he entered the underground parking lot, he was pressed to the ground by a few men with a sack over his head and beaten up. The other party was obviously ruthless. It was not until Xianxia could not move that the few of them were afraid that he would die and hurriedly ran away. Xianxia lay on the ground. At that moment he felt that his body was in so much pain that it was about to split open. He did not need to think too much to know who had sent them. Other than Gu Ziling, who had gone crazy during the day, there was no one else. Thinking of this, Xianxia clenched his fists. Now that he had been betrayed by his family, he had been pushed into a pit of fire by Gu Ziling's grandfather. His life was worse than death. He did not dare to run away from Jinbo because he did not want to end up like Xianxia. However, what could he do while curled up in such a small space? What could he do? In his mind he suddenly thought of the text message from a month ago. Xianxia lay on the ground and took out his phone from his leather bag. He flipped to the text message with bloodstains on it. I promise you, but I want to borrow Jinbo's hand to make the Gu family suffer a fate worse than death. So wait for me first. The humiliation that Gu Ziling had brought him was enough. Late at night, Mu Qiqi came out of the bathroom and saw Xianxia texting someone, so she leaned her little head over. Xianxia immediately turned off his phone and looked at her. Didn't we agree that you're not allowed to fool around until you find out what's going on? Then how do I know you're not texting with some beautiful woman? Xianxia hugged her and put his phone aside. This one is about to go to heaven. How many more? Am I that free in your heart? I'm just teasing you. I'm a little sleepy. She did not know if it was a psychological effect, but Mu Qiqi felt that pregnant women should be sleepy. Xianxia touched her hair and made sure that it was not wet. Then he picked her up and placed her on the bed. Sleep. Sing me a song? This thing's ability to torture people was increasing day by day. You can ask me to tell you a story, but you can't ask me to sing for you. Men all had a bottom line. Mu Qiqi smiled and admitted defeat. Then tell me a story. Once upon a time there was a high-spirited brigade commander. One day he suddenly received a special military order to escort an important researcher to a research base 300 miles away from the army. Mu Qiqi frowned as she listened. When other people told stories, it was either a sleeper or a Cinderella. In his mouth, it became a brigade commander carrying out a special mission. But how could she know that it was all the truth about her grandfather? Forget it, Master Xiao. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to sleep. Xing Zhao's thin lips curled into a smile. Then he helped Mu Qiqi put down the pillow and turned off the wall lamp. Only then did he leave the bedroom and go to the study. Mu Qiqi's head was spinning. Unexpectedly, the psychological effect was quite effective. She quickly fell asleep and slept very soundly. In the study, Xianxia made a call for help. Soon, the people from the hospital found the place where Xianxia had fainted and sent him to the hospital. That's right. It was Xianxia who sent the message a month ago. The only ones who can give you dignity and protect your life are your family and me. If you come back, I'll let bygones be bygones and give you a path with dignity. There are no conditions. Xianxia had thought about this message for a month. Although he did not want to admit it, deep in his heart he believed Xing Zhao's words because no one kept their promises as much as Xianxia did. However, he felt ashamed. Moreover, he had long since thought that he and the Xing family were from the same world. However, Gu Ziling's provocation made him suddenly realize that if this continued, he would die outside sooner or later. No one could stop him. At midnight, Jinbo's car arrived at the hospital. He had received news that Xianxia had been hospitalized. For the past month he had hardly asked about Xianxia. He had left him to fend for himself. He had thought that he would think of a way to escape, but he did not have any intention of leaving. On the hospital bed, Xianxia was seriously injured. Jinbo sat beside him waiting for him to wake up. Are you feeling better? Godfather, Xianxia called out softly. Why are you here? I didn't come to see you. How badly have you been beaten up? Jinbo said with some heartache. Who did this? Xianxia sat up with Jin Bo's help. Then he opened Xing Zhao's message and showed it to Jin Bo. Godfather, Xianxia came to win me over. I've thought about it for a month, but I still only want to stay by your side. The Xing family has humiliated me enough. I just want Godfather to value me and trust me. Jin Bo read the message and his heart skipped a beat. I didn't expect the Xing family to still care about old ties. They don't care about old ties. They just want to humiliate me just like Gu Xiling. Godfather, take me with you. I just want to follow you. I just want those people who look down on me to see that they're blind to humiliate me. Jin Bo thought about it carefully and patted Xianxia's shoulder. Rest well first. When you recover, come to Godfather's side. I'll teach you personally. Godfather, I still have a presumptuous request. The Gu family has treated me like this. I understand what you mean. When you get better, I'll support you in how you want to deal with the Gu family. Thank you, Godfather. Xianxia used Xing Zhao's message to exchange for Jin Bo's trust. However, he knew that this was only the most basic. There were more tests ahead. However, this did not matter. At least it was better than being locked up in a small place like Changrong. For 2 consecutive days, Mu Qiqi did not appear in school. This finally attracted the attention of the students in the faculty. However, Mu Qiqi did not have any friends in school. If they wanted to know about her current situation, they could only ask the dean. She's fine, but she suddenly stopped coming to school. How strange. Could it be that she's been borrowed again? I don't think so. She really treats the school as her home. She can come and go as she pleases. There was a lot of discussion in the school. The dean saw that he could no longer suppress the news, so when he was teaching the students, he explained, Mu Qiqi has taken a leave of absence from school. Don't make baseless guesses. Hisik. Besides, this is someone else's private matter. Don't worry about it. Just do your part. Just like that, the news of Mu Qiqi's serious illness spread like wildfire. How serious was her illness to the point of taking a leave of absence from school? Chapter 841. But this thing was innately rebellious and liked to go against the grain. Everyone in the family thought that she was pregnant too early, but she didn't think so. Every day she called Xianxia old man, and it became more and more smooth. Not only that, she even said confidently, I'm a medical student. I know very well that having a child when you're younger will help you recover faster and have more energy. You won't be afraid of staying up late to feed the baby. Xing Zhao's face darkened when he heard that she was going to stay up late. I don't need your help. What do you mean you don't need me? Don't tell me you have milk for the baby? Xianxia did not want to discuss this with her. She was pregnant and she was becoming more and more out of control, blurting out everything. Still, he could not bear to think that she would be trapped in such a huge place for the next few months. She was the only one who enjoyed it. On Sunday morning, it was time for Feng Shanshan's prenatal checkup again. Tang Yan was called away by the chief and she was alone again. Originally, Tang Yan wanted to ask Xiao Xing for help, but Feng Shanshan thought that Mu Qiqi did not have class, so she called her. Are you free? Accompany your godson for the checkup. I'm not going. Mu Qiqi rubbed her belly and smiled when she realized that she had gotten what she wanted. Feng Shanshan was stunned. She felt that Mu Qiqi was a little strange. What's wrong with you? What are you giggling about? We're in the same boat now. I'm even more pitiful than you. I'm grounded at home. I can't even go to your house. Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. No matter how she listened, she could not detect any discomfort in Mu Qiqi's tone. She reacted for a moment. Although Mu Qiqi did not say it explicitly, she still felt that she had guessed correctly. You're also pregnant? Yes, exactly 1 month. Feng Shanshan immediately sat down on the sofa and became excited. Didn't you say that your CO has made up his mind to wait until you're 24? It was purely an accident. Mu Qiqi was still excited. It had been a few days, but she was still immersed in joy. All right then. Your situation is different from mine. I'll go for a prenatal checkup first. We'll talk when I come back. Since Mu Qiqi could not go down, she could only wait for Feng Shanshan to go up herself. Go. Get someone to accompany you. Don't go alone. Now that she was pregnant, she realized how important safety was. At first, the whole family thought that Mu Qiqi would be bored. But did she look bored at all? Over the next few months, she had planned everything out clearly. She had ordered a lot of tools for learning how to draw, tools for making clothes for the baby, and some handicrafts. When the time came, she would be busier than anyone else. After Feng Xianxian learned that Mu Qiqi was pregnant, she was happy for a long time. She thought to herself, this is what sisters are. They even got pregnant at the same time. However, with Mu Qiqi's situation, Xianxia deliberately raised her like a national treasure. Then Feng Xianxian called Tang Yan. In the end, Xiaoxing came over to help and accompanied Feng Xianxian to the hospital. Song Qiaoji saw that Feng Xianxian's complexion was good, so she raised her finger and praised her. You look better. That's right. Pay attention to calcium in your diet. I'm sorry, Dr. Song. I couldn't attend your last lecture. That's nothing. I still have a few more. Song Qiaoji gave her a new activity brochure. Come when you're free. It's okay. After spending so much time together, Feng Xianxian already had enough trust in Song Qiaoji. She felt that Dr. Song was really beautiful and kind-hearted. Therefore, the next time Song Qiaoji gives a lecture, she plans to bring Tang Yan along to listen to it seriously. After the prenatal checkup, Feng Xianxian went home anxiously and went to the banyan courtyard. Mu Qiqi was waiting at the door. When she saw the pregnant woman, she was very happy. Is there any problem with the checkup? Yes, the child is fine. What about you? Mine is fine too, Mu Qiqi said proudly. What about the school? You're different from me. Don't you need to go to school? I was dropped out of school. There was nothing I could do about it. I dropped out of school, Mu Qiqi replied casually. I now understand why you could drop out of school for Captain Tang. Xiao told the public that I was sick and didn't let anyone know that I was pregnant. That's to protect you. Of course. They were both pregnant. Mu Qiqi couldn't hide the smile in her eyes. You're that happy? Of course I'm happy. Think about it. In a few months your family will have a replica of Tang Yan. I'll have a replica of Master Xiao in my family. Isn't that very interesting? Usually I can't bully Master Xiao, but it's okay. I can bully his son in the future. Feng Xianxian's heart was different from Mu Qiqi's because Tang Yan was often not at home. If she had a child, it would be able to distract her and she wouldn't miss that man too much. Since you're pregnant, don't touch forensic stuff. You're a few months pregnant before me after all. You even know how to teach people a lesson. Mu Qiqi kept Feng Xianxian at home for lunch. In any case, it was all a pregnant woman's meal. Fifth aunt was good at cooking and was good at all kinds of medicinal diets. They were clearly things that were difficult to swallow, but in fifth aunt's hands she could turn them into new things. It could be seen that Xianxia was not a servant that he casually hired back then. When Xianxia returned from outside, he saw Feng Xianxian and Mu Qiqi having lunch. For some reason, this thing had been smiling ever since she was pregnant. It had been a few days, but her excitement had not diminished at all. Perhaps because she knew Xingzhao's doubts, fifth aunt stood in front of Xingzhao and said, "Young madam is doing this because of you, sir. Having your flesh and blood is a great joy for her. Because the greatest love a woman has for a man is to want to have a child for him. Young madam is happy from the bottom of her heart." It was unknown where her optimism came from. Even though she knew that she would be locked up in the banyan courtyard for 10 months, she did not look sad at all. How much love did she have? Your Xiao is back. Feng Xianxian happened to see Xingzhao standing at the door from where she was sitting. She did not notice him just now, so she did not know how long he had been standing at the door. When Mu Qiqi saw this, her smile became even more natural. Have you eaten? In the past 2 days, Xingzhao had indeed cleared up all his time to accompany her. In the morning, he had only gone to Zhongting to sign an important contract. After signing it, he rushed back eagerly. In fact, the secretary had already heard the news of Mu Qiqi's illness. From the time Xingzhao had been at home for the past 2 days, she had deduced that Mu Qiqi's illness was probably true. "So, Miss Qiqi, are you all right?" Xingzhao had long known that the secretary was a fan of the little things, so he replied, "I need to rest for a few months. Then please ask her to take care of herself." The secretary was quite worried. Only Zhongting's secretary would be so strange. Chapter 842. Seeing that Xingzhao seemed to have something to say, Feng Xianxian was very tactful. "I'm almost done eating. It's time for me to go back. I won't see Tang Yan when he comes home. Let fifth aunt send you down." Mu Qiqi stood up. "No need. I'm not so bad that I can't even walk." With that, Feng Xianxian left the table and walked towards the door. When fifth aunt saw her, she quickly followed to send her off. The living room instantly quieted down. Xianxia walked to Muqiqi's side and rubbed the little thing's head. Don't smile at everyone. It looks silly. I'm happy. She was so happy. Xianxia did not say anything. He thought that he was never a person who liked to be sad, but after being with this thing for a few years, his emotions seemed to have long been controlled by her. Let's go back to the Xing family for dinner tonight, Can't you just tell the old man? I don't want to cause too much trouble. The others are too talkative, Muqiqi could not help but say. She did not trust the rest of the Xing family, especially sixth brother. I have to find a time to inform my aunt. These are all my dearest people. I want to share this good news with my dearest people. I'll arrange it. This little thing's excitement would probably last for a long time. Forget it. How could he not be happy? This little thing was pregnant with his child and had his blood in her stomach. How could he not be happy? He had never thought that there would be such a day when a family of 3 was like the most beautiful picture in the world. Because the little thing that was about to be born in a few months was half his blood, and the other half was from the woman he loved the most. This was amazing, wasn't it? It turned out that love would really bear fruit in the end. More importantly, according to fifth aunt, the highest price a woman could pay to a man was to be willing to give birth to a child for him. How much did Cheer love him to the point of no regrets that she would be so happy for a child? He was going to be a father. In 30 years he had never had such a strange and proud feeling. In the future, there would be an even smaller thing that would rely on him to survive. What are you thinking about? You're so engrossed. Muqiqi poked the man's chest as she drank the soup. Why don't we stay at my aunt's place for the night? Can I? I said I won't let you out. Are you not going to move? Xing Zhao's eyes lit up when he saw it. He couldn't help feeling sorry for her. This concerns the safety of you, Daddy, me and the baby. Why should I do it? I'll be very obedient. He was too silly. Xing Zhao did not say anything else. He ate lunch with Muqiqi and then took a nap with her. In the afternoon he had a video conference in the study. In the evening he brought Muqiqi out. Grandpa Xing did not know that the two of them would suddenly come over for dinner, so he only prepared a lot of Muqiqi's favorite dishes. The Xing family's small kitchen had always been excellent. Muqiqi thought about it and liked the Xing family's dinner very much. Eighth brother, you came back so suddenly. Nothing to say? Old Xing thought that something was up with Huang Yao. Otherwise that thing would never go to a temple without a reason. No, I just want to eat, Xing Xiao answered lazily as he put one hand on Muqiqi's chair. Old Xing snorted and pointed at him. After you're done eating, come to the study and play chess with me. Don't cry if you lose. It had been many years since the grandfather and grandson had such a harmonious time playing chess. The other members of the Xing family did not see anything unusual. After dinner they all went back to their rooms. In the study, old Xing looked at Xing Xiao expectantly. There was a deep meaning in his eyes. Tell me, what's the matter? In the end he was his grandson. He had watched him grow up and he knew very well what kind of temper Xing Xiao had. It's nothing. I just came to tell you that you've leveled up, Xing Xiao said proudly to old Xing, holding the little one's hand beside him. What level? Old Xing did not understand for a moment. Muqiqi patted her belly when she saw that. Old Xing immediately understood when he saw that. You're pregnant just like that? What do you mean just like that? Muqiqi was dissatisfied with the old man's choice of words. I never thought that I would be able to see the birth of eighth brother's child in my lifetime. The old man became happy. With your temper in the past, I thought that you would never have children in this life. It's a secret. There's no need for the other Xing family to know about it, lest it causes unnecessary trouble. Old Xing knew the gravity of it and nodded. You're a man who's going to be a father now. You're more mature and thoughtful than before. I have nothing to worry about. I'm just worried that this girl is too naughty. Old man, you have to speak with your conscience. Muqiqi rolled her eyes at him. Now that you have a child and Huang Yao is developing well, my wish has been fulfilled. Even if I leave now, I won't have any regrets. The only thing that makes me sad is... Old Xing smiled bitterly and stopped talking. However, both Muqiqi and Xing Xiao knew what his ellipsis meant. Sheng Kai had always been a thorn in the old man's side, and there was no way to get rid of it. Eighth brother, take good care of this girl in the future. She suffered a lot because of me. Whether she gives birth to a boy or a girl, my shares will belong to my great-grandson. No one can have any ideas about it. To be honest, did Mu Chichi care? Not at all. But it was the old man's intention. Moreover, he had apologized to her on various occasions, so the grudge between the two of them was long gone. Tell me how bad your taste was. Old Xing couldn't help but laugh. Alright, it's getting late. Let's go home and rest. Xianxia gave Susie Pei a call before he left the house. After leaving Xing Mansion, they went straight to the small mansion. Mu Chichi was a little nervous at the thought of meeting her aunt. Moreover, there were many memories of her and Xianxia in the small mansion, especially the trees outside. In the past, Xianxia would always wait for her down there and they would secretly go out on dates. Is there any place you want to go after visiting your aunt? Xianxia asked Mu Chichi in a low voice on the way to the small mansion. I'm a little sleepy. Mu Chichi leaned against the front passenger seat and closed her eyes to choose a comfortable position. She fell asleep before they reached the small mansion. Xianxia did not wake her. He just slowed down the car so that she could sleep more peacefully and comfortably. When they reached the small mansion, Xianxia carried her inside. Susie Pei was shocked when she saw him. What's wrong? She's just asleep, Xianxia answered in a low voice. Chapter 843. Perhaps it was because she smelled the familiar scent. Mu Chichi slept even more soundly. She found a comfortable position and showed no signs of waking up. Susie Pei saw Xianxia sitting by the bed helplessly, so she immediately said, "Young Master Xing, let me do it." No need. Xianxia rejected her softly. Then he put Mu Chichi's hand back under the blanket and adjusted the temperature in the room. Susie Pei was worried that Xianxia could not take good care of the pregnant woman. Now that she thought about it, she was worrying too much. Then the two of them turned off the lights and left the room. Have you had dinner? Susie Pei asked quickly. I've made some soup. I'll get a bowl for Xiaoqi when she wakes up. Okay. Xianxia nodded. Will Xiaoqi have adverse reactions like morning sickness? Xianxia shook his head. Not yet. There are people at home to take care of her diet, so you don't have to worry too much, Auntie Pei. Hearing the word, aunt, Susie Pei was a little dazed. But after a while she said with a smile, that's because I'm too nervous. When her mother was pregnant with her, she felt uncomfortable for a few months. I'm afraid that Xiaoqi will be like her mother. But with you here, I don't have to worry too much. Wenhua isn't back yet. I still have to coax the child. You might have to sit by yourself. After going downstairs, Susie Pei apologized to Xianxia. Xianxia didn't think much of it. A walk around. That's good. Everything here hasn't changed much from when you left. When Xianxia walked out of the villa, he suddenly thought of the scene when he drove his flashy sports car and stopped in front of the villa. He used a stone to knock on the glass of the little one's room upstairs. Now that little one was pregnant with his child and was lying quietly in the room, resting. How could he have known that he would be so addicted to that little one? Mu Chichi slept soundly. But when she woke up in her aunt's house, she couldn't help but be in a daze. When she woke up, she didn't see Xianxia. Mu Chichi quickly got up, but when she saw the familiar furnishings in the room, she suddenly smiled. Here she had spent the most difficult days of her crush. Looking down from the window, Mu Chichi found Xianxia under the tree below. In the past, she had also looked forward to seeing that man downstairs from this place every day. Now that she thought about it, her heart was still moved. A moment later, Susie Pei entered the room with the chicken soup. You're awake? Auntie Pei. Mu Chichi quickly went up to her and asked for a hug. You're going to be a mother soon, but you're still acting like a child. Young Master Xing has spoiled you. Susie Pei let her hug the baby and handed her the chicken soup. Drink it. And did I marry the right person? Mu Chichi held the chicken soup in her hands and looked like she was asking for praise. Seeing that, Susie Pei smiled. Back then, young Master Xing was so frivolous. I thought that you would suffer if you followed him. After all, a man like him can have any woman he wants. That's why I was very worried when you two got together. But after seeing the two of you together over the last few years, I feel that young Master Xing is the one who has sacrificed more, which is why I think you're really lucky. Young Master Xing is, and no one would despise their niece like this. Mu Chichi's eyes were a little sad. Now that you're a mother, don't be willful. Think more about young Master Xing, understand? Master Xiao despised me before. I'm the Xing family's biological child. Now whether he's in the Xin family or here, he's still your biological child. You can't touch those things anymore, understand? Especially knives. Don't worry, I've already quit school. Muqiqi raised her hand and promised. And I don't know how happy I am now. I'll definitely grasp this happiness tightly. The two of them chatted for a while before Xiao returned. Su Zipei saw that the two of them seemed to have something to say, so she took the porcelain bowl and went out. She closed the door. You guys should rest. It's very late. What did you do down there? Muqiqi looked at Xiao and asked. I was very disappointed when I woke up and didn't see you. After saying that, Muqiqi hugged Xiao. Xiao hugged her and couldn't help but sigh. You're so clingy. Then do you want me to be clingy? Go take a shower. Xiao carried her horizontally and the two of them entered the bathroom. It was clearly a thunderstorm, but they couldn't do anything. Seeing that Xiao was holding it in so hard, Muqiqi couldn't bear it anymore. She said to him, Don't hold it in, Xiao. I don't want you to work so hard. I'll help you. Pregnant people were happy, but at the same time they were dangerous. Feng Xianxian absolutely trusted Dr. Song now, so she handed the activity booklet to Tang Yan. Do you have time to accompany me to Dr. Song's lecture? Tang Yan was cleaning up the dishes. When he saw the time of the activity, he nodded. I'll try my best to accompany you. Is there a big case at the station recently? Feng Xianxian saw the hesitation in his expression. If you don't have time, it's okay. I can go by myself. Hearing Feng Xianxian say that, Tang Yan felt guilty. He put down the bowl and chopsticks and held Feng Xianxian's hand. I'll definitely accompany you. There's no need. When we were together, I said that you can be a police officer. I won't hinder you. It's not a hindrance. I also want to accompany you. All right then. Feng Xianxian nodded. Don't be too tired. When the time comes, I won't be the one feeling sorry for you. Tang Yan patted the back of her hand, indicating that he understood. Then he took the bowl and chopsticks and went to the kitchen. Chi-Chi is also pregnant. You know that, right? That's going to be spoiled to the heavens. Are you envious? Feng Xianxian laughed. That was her life. Others had this life, so it was only right for them to be spoiled. It's enough for me to have you. It had been more than a month since Song Qiaoji came to Jianchuan. She had indeed gradually gained Feng Xianxian's trust, but it had almost worn out Qingbin's patience. The two of them had a lot of conflicts on the phone. Miss Song, if you don't take action by the end of this month, I'll do it myself. In any case, he had already figured out Feng Xianxian's prenatal checkup routine and that the person who was always following her was just a little girl. It wasn't too difficult for him to deal with her. Then do it yourself. I don't plan to do it. I think that mother and son are quite pitiful, Song Qiaoji said indifferently. Anyway, you're the one taking revenge, not me. I should have known that women are unreliable. Damn it, I wasted so much of my time. After saying that, Qingbin hung up. Song Qiaoji smiled and let Qingbin do it. Firstly, she could help Feng Xianxian get out of danger. This way she could gain her trust. Secondly, she could also test what kind of strings Tang Yan had set up around Feng Xianxian. Chapter 844. Why didn't he use his brain? How could someone who could make Tang Yan follow him so easily? Song Qiaoji had observed carefully. Although Xiao Xing was very young, she was definitely a martial artist and had good skills. These men always thought that girls, especially little girls, didn't seem to be intimidating. This was pure discrimination. Let him go and mess around. As Song Qiaoji thought about it, she drank red wine alone. After resting in the hospital for a few days, Xing Kai's injuries had mostly healed. That night, after Xing Kai showed Xing Zhao's text message to Jin Bo, he gained Jin Bo's trust. Jin Bo also promised him that he would send someone to settle the matter with the Gu family. Gu Xiling had indeed sent someone, but Gu Xiling had only wanted to vent her anger. She had never thought that Xing Kai would really have the guts to take revenge or bear a grudge. She was just angry that Xing Kai had gotten a woman outside pregnant. After nightfall, Jianchuan had already started to get stuffy. After Gu Xiling and Mama Gu had eaten, they sat in the garden to cool off. Who knew that Xing Kai would go home wrapped in gauze? When Gu Xiling saw Xing Kai's injured appearance, she felt a little guilty. However, it was only for a moment before she regained her original proud look. Who beat you up? Don't you know who beat me up? Xianxia asked her in return. Xianxia, don't forget what you've done outside. You and I haven't divorced yet and you've already gotten another woman pregnant. Are you trying to make me a joke? Gu Xiling stood up from the chair. She always had that arrogant look on her face. Xianxia, it's not that I want to criticize you, but I married the woman to you because I wanted her to have a happy ending. I didn't expect her life to be so miserable after marrying you. Mama Gu also came over to help. You really don't act like a man. I don't act like a man. Why don't you think about who gave me that? After Xianxia said that, he grabbed Gu Ziling's shirt with his left hand and pushed her to the ground. Today I won't say anything else. You got someone to beat me up. It's only fair that I return the favor. Xianxia, what do you want to do? Mama Xing had a bad feeling and her face turned pale. I'll let your daughter have a taste of being seriously injured. Having said that, Xianxia turned to the people outside the villa. Come in. The third brother was a man dressed in black. He held a wooden stick in his hand and his face was covered. He looked like a professional fighter. Xianxia, don't do anything rash. This is against the law. Breaking the law? I came here today with Godfather's permission. He will take care of everything for me. Xianxia answered Mama Xing while stepping on Gu Ziling's body. Didn't the Gu family dig this pit for me? Let's jump together now. Do it. It was not difficult for the three men to deal with the two women. Not only that, these men also destroyed the Gu family. Gu Xiling did not know how many times she had been kicked. She only felt as if her lower abdomen was being torn apart. I know you look down on me. Since that's the case, why should I endure it? Gu Xiling, let me tell you, don't point fingers in front of me in the future. Otherwise, don't blame me if I hit you too hard one day. Gu Xiling was trembling all over, but she did not have the guts to resist. She was also afraid of death. Especially when she felt that Xianxia was inhumane, as if he had been possessed by a devil. Gu Xiling could only support herself on the ground and sob softly, because she knew what fear was. Xianxia had never seen her so pitiful before. He finally smiled. I was too good-tempered to you in the past. From now on I won't be like that anymore. Gu Xiling resisted the urge to call the police. She could only watch Xianxia walk away before taking out the phone with the broken screen. However, Mama Gu stopped her. Are you crazy? You're calling the police? Mom, I'm calling the police now. Didn't you hear what he said? This is all allowed by your godfather. Do you want your grandfather to come back and beat you to death? Gu Xiling touched the blood on the bridge of her nose and smiled helplessly. I just married a beast. You're also at fault. Why do you always humiliate him? How can you stop a man when he goes crazy? I'm not wrong. He's incompetent. He's incompetent. But Gu Xiling did not dare to say these words in front of Xianxia. In the future, be careful when dealing with him. At this point, he hasn't said anything about divorce. I won't leave either. I just want to see who can outlast the other. Gu Xiling was obviously saying these words out of anger. She had already invested too much in this relationship. She had lost everything. How could she leave now? Impossible. If she had to die, she would die together. Gu Xiling was sent to the hospital, and Grandpa Gu called Jinbo. Wasn't Xianxia being too presumptuous? Jinbo did not think much of it. After all, Xianxia was a tiger without teeth in the past. Now that he had been provoked by Gu Xiling, wasn't that a good thing? In the past, Xianxia felt that it was boring to use him. He was not decisive in doing things and he did not have the guts. But now it was different. Kai, after you rest for a few more days, go out with Godfather for a meal. Godfather will introduce you to more friends and let you expand your career. Thank you, Godfather, Xianxia replied over the phone. We're both father and son. What are you thanking me for? It was great to be able to borrow Jinbo's hand to make the Gu family obedient, but Xianxia did not forget what Jinbo did. After putting down the phone, Xianxia sent another message to an unfamiliar number. Jinbo, I don't know your real name. He's planning for Deputy Mayor Liang and has adopted many orphans for something. Xinyu is one of them. Now Qingbin wants to make a move on Tang Yan, but he has a helper. I'm not sure who he is. After sending it, he immediately deleted the message. Not long after, two subordinates who claimed to have been sent by Jinbo followed Xianxia. Xianxia knew that rather than saying that they were here to help him, it would be better to say that they were here to monitor him. There were some quagmires that you could not fall into, but since you had fallen into them, there was no turning back. Xianxia brought Wuxia to stay in the small villa for 2 days. Seeing that her face was rosy and she was still immersed in excitement, Xianxia faintly curled his lips. I know. Zhongting is very busy. You've been with me for 2 days. Go back to work. On the way home, Wuxia said to Xianxia considerately, I know. I'm looking for something to do at home. For example, painting, making toys for the baby. Anyway, I'm very busy. You should go and do your work too. Don't disturb me. Wuxia thought of the pile of things she had bought a few days ago. It was enough for her to work for 10 months. Are you really willing to not leave the room? I'm willing, Wuxia answered seriously. Then she leaned on his shoulder. Aunt Sipei said that you're the only one who's sacrificing after we got together. So I reflected on myself. Am I really that bad as a wife? Chapter 845. So, I want to be more considerate. Xianxia hugged her with one arm and said calmly, there's no need. Xianxia, I'm an adult now. Can you trust me a little more? After Xianxia heard this, he pinched her face. What did you call me? Hubby, let go. I asked Su Che to find some books related to forensics for you to pass the time, Xianxia said to Wuxia before getting out of the car. In fact, he was the only one in this world who understood her the best. Reading these when you're pregnant, will it be bad for the prenatal education? With you around, I don't expect good prenatal education. With that, Xianxia took a long step back to the car and instructed Su Che, go to Zhongting. If he did not deal with it for 2 days, the work had already piled up like a mountain. By the way, check up on Jean Bo. Su Che was surprised, but he did not ask. Understood. After Wuxia returned home, she moved all the handicrafts out of the storeroom. When Fifth Aunt saw this, her legs went soft. Little ancestor, you can't move heavy things now. You're scaring me to death. It's fine. They're all very light things. Wuxia's eyes were bright. Ever since she became pregnant, she had been in high spirits every day. What do you want to do? Make a small wooden horse for the baby and some toys. After Wuxia said that, she opened the packaging of the boxes. Thinking about how she was a forensic doctor and could play with the scalpel so beautifully, it should not be difficult for her to pack things. Fifth Aunt did not disturb her and let her sit in the living room. That was good. Otherwise, she would get sick from staying at home every day. Fifth Aunt, when you have time, tell me about medicinal cuisine. I want to learn. Let me make it clear first. If you want to learn, you can, but you can't enter the kitchen. Fifth Aunt had made a rule with her beforehand that she had to be scalded and touched in the study. She could not afford this responsibility. I won't go. As long as it was related to the child, Wuxia was very obedient. Young madam, now that the baby is here, we should prepare a baby room. However, there's only a bedroom and a study upstairs. Should we put it downstairs? With Fifth Aunt's reminder, Wuxia felt that it was time to consider it. If it was placed downstairs, it would definitely be inconvenient for her to feed the baby when it was born. But if it was upstairs, then change the cloakroom for me and Xiao. Anyway, it's just a matter of having one more small bed. The baby can't leave me before he's 2 years old. She thought the child was 2 years old. We need to prepare that as soon as possible. But it's not convenient for me to go out and buy them. Wuxia thought about it and decided to solve it online. But when she thought about it, it was not convenient to have it delivered. Madam, and I can do this for you. Although Wuxia wanted to set it up herself, she gave up when she thought about safety. After the baby's room was settled, Wuxia continued to make her handicrafts. However, in the middle of the afternoon she received a call from Lu Xianxian. Gigi, are you sick? Where did you hear the news? My former classmate. I met him today. He's also in Xingting University. He said that you've taken a break from school and are recuperating at home. What happened to you? Lu Xianxian called Wuxia when she got the news. Could be seen that she was her best friend. I'm not sick. Hey, pregnant. Wuxia smiled and said in one breath. Xiao didn't let the outside world know about this, so he asked me to say that I'm sick. Pregnant. Lu Xianxian almost screamed in front of her subordinates. I'll drive over tonight to see you. Okay. Wuxia nodded and agreed. Then you go ahead, Xiao. We'll talk about it tonight. Okay. After the two of them hung up, Wuxia immediately said to Fifth Aunt, there are guests coming tonight. Fifth aunt might have to trouble you to prepare a sumptuous dinner. It's a small matter. Leave it to me. Mu Qiqi didn't want everyone to know about it, but it seemed that she would feel like an outsider if she didn't tell her good friends. Moreover, Xianxian was someone she could trust. That evening, Lu Xianxian drove a red Ferrari to the banyan courtyard. Seeing Mu Qiqi's domestic appearance, she couldn't help but sigh. You're no longer that 17-year-old girl. Xiao Lu, you're becoming more and more like a capable female Xiao now. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. Lu Qianxian immediately looked at her lower abdomen. It hasn't been long since I saw you. You were fine and you're suddenly pregnant? Your family CEO is very efficient. It was purely an accident. Mu Qiqi chuckled. Silly girl, why are you so happy? Look at you. You can't even control yourself at such an important occasion like the inauguration ceremony. If you don't get pregnant, who will? Mu Qiqi felt so embarrassed that even her ears turned red when she heard that. Forget it. As long as my sister is happy, I won't say anything. I bought a small gift for the baby in the car. I'll ask your CEO to bring it down later. You don't even know the gender. Why spend so much money? I'm happy. The two sisters chatted and laughed as they entered the living room. However, at the end of dinner, Xianxia did not return home. After dinner, Mu Qiqi was sleepy. Lu Qianxian could tell that she was sleepy, so she got up from the sofa. I won't disturb the pregnant woman's rest. I'm going home. Qianxian, if you meet your classmates in the future, tell them that I'm sick. I'm very sick. Got it. Lu Qianxian hugged Mu Qiqi. Stay at home and take good care of the baby. After Lu Qianxian left, Mu Qiqi went upstairs and fell asleep. It was easy to develop a habit. After more than a month of pregnancy, she shouldn't have had such a reaction. However, Mu Qiqi had a balance in her heart. It would be good for the child if she developed the habit of going to bed early. At 8:30 p.m. Xianxia entered the house. He did not see Mu Qiqi and knew that she was asleep upstairs. Sir, you're back. How's cheer today? Xianxia took off his coat. The first thing he did was ask fifth aunt about Mu Qiqi's situation. She made some handicrafts in the afternoon and talked about the baby's room. I think she's quite disappointed that she can't go out and buy things for the baby. After Xianxia heard this, he first went upstairs to look at the pregnant woman on the bed. After making sure that she was sleeping soundly, he quietly went to the study. The baby's room. It was time to get ready. The next day, Feng Shanshan and Tang Yan agreed to go to Song Qiaoji's lecture. Therefore the two of them got up early. Tang Yan personally drove Feng Shanshan to the medical university, but along the way he hung up on at least 6 or 7 calls. If you're really busy, you can go back when we get to school. Feng Shanshan tilted her head and said, the school is full of people. You don't have to worry. Tang Yan did not say anything and turned off his phone. Chapter 846. Song Qiaoji saw Feng Shanshan and her husband from afar, so she smiled at them through the crowd. Feng Shanshan smiled back and sat down. She realized that she was surrounded by pregnant women. Many of them had come on their own. Thinking that her husband was by her side, Feng Shanshan felt much more at ease. Song Qiaoji was indeed very professional. During the lecture, she had also solved many of the confusion of many pregnant women. Especially when it came to the diseases that might occur during pregnancy, Tang Yan listened very seriously. From time to time he would use his phone to record down key information. Feng Shanshan's heart warmed when she saw this. The 1-hour lecture soon ended. Feng Shanshan and Tang Yan got up and left. I told you it's very safe. You can go back to the station. I'll send you home first, Tang Yan said consciously. This so-called safety was based on him being here. If Feng Shanshan was alone, Tang Yan would not be at ease. In the future, when you go to Dr. Song's place, don't let Xiao Xing come over. She's a police officer, not my personal bodyguard. Can you be a little more selfish? Tang Yan said to Feng Shanshan. Just like before we got together. Feng Shanshan was stunned. She was sensible, but he didn't buy it. The couple argued along the way and left. Song Qiaoji looked at their figures from afar from behind. Let's be happy for a few more days, a very happy life. Qing Bin was nearby, but he did not find an opportunity to make a move. Of course, he did not plan to make a move today because he knew Feng Shanshan's prenatal checkup time. 1 corpse and 2 lives. He did not know how Tang Yan would feel if he lost these 2 people. In the morning in Jianchuan, the sun was shining brightly. Suche had already found out about Jinbo. While Xianxia was not busy, he entered the office and handed him the information. Jinbo, American, 52 years old. According to the information, he has 2 sons. He's an entrepreneur who runs an educational organization in the United States. These are all empty shells. Xianxia threw them away without looking at them. This isn't his real name. If we want to find out more details, we might alarm the other party. Moreover, it will take a long time, Suche replied. Then investigate slowly and carefully, Xianxia said calmly. This person is the mastermind behind Bicini's case. Moreover, he views the Xin and Xing families as his #1 enemies. I want to know all the news about this person as soon as possible. This news? Where did you get it from? Suche was a little strange. Xing Kai sent it. Suche knew that there was someone behind Xing Kai. It turned out to be Jinbo. Also, do something for me tonight. Understood. Suche did not ask how Xianxia could get the information from Xing Kai. For now, the authenticity of the information was more reliable. Could it be that the 2 brothers had privately reconciled? Also, Suche, if you have time, investigate another person with the surname Song. If they could prove that Jinbo was a member of the Song family, then everything would make sense. Suche was busy with his work, so Xianxia called his secretary over the intercom. Bring Chi-er here at 4 in the afternoon. All right. Wasn't he sick? The secretary was puzzled but did not dare to ask the big Su. Bring 2 bodyguards. The secretary received the order and set off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. When she arrived at the banyan courtyard, she saw that Mu Qiqi was clearly very energetic. Young madam, the president asked me to pick you up. Did he say anything? Mu Qiqi looked puzzled. He didn't say. He only asked me to bring you safely. Then let me change my clothes. A moment later, Mu Qiqi said goodbye to Mama Xing and went out. It had been a few days since she came into contact with this world. Mu Qiqi felt a little absent-minded. After entering Zhongting, she stared at Xianxia and asked, "Didn't we agree not to go out? I'll take you somewhere tonight." Mu Qiqi raised her eyebrows and saw that Xianxia had already asked someone to prepare food and drinks. Go kill some time by yourself. Be good, okay? Before Mu Qiqi could nod, she saw Xianxia turn around and go to the conference room. You must have been very busy these past 2 days. Mu Qiqi obediently sat on the sofa and read a book. She thought that she would have to wait until 8:30 p.m. After all, Xianxia had been returning home at this time recently. However, it was just past 7 when Xianxia returned to his office and said to her, "Let's go." "Where are we going?" Xianxia did not say anything. He personally drove Mu Qiqi to that mysterious place. "Get out of the car." Mu Qiqi took a closer look and realized that this was the most high-end mother and baby products store in Jianchuan City. There was no one inside except for the manager in charge. It seemed that CEO Xing had booked the entire place. Mu Qiqi was instantly excited. Yesterday she had just told fifth aunt that she did not have the chance to come out and buy things for the baby. "Madam, you can choose anything you want. There are a total of 5 floors here. You can go from the 1st floor to the 5th floor. I don't even know what to buy when you suddenly call me out like this." Mu Qiqi looked at Xianxia with some resentment. "If I had known, I would have made a list." Xianxia held her hand and took the elevator to the 1st floor. The 1st floor is for the baby's daily necessities, including a crib, a baby pillow and toys. "I want all of these." Mu Qiqi looked at the small things and could not help but sigh. She turned around and looked at Xianxia. He stopped in front of a crib. Mu Qiqi immediately felt that the scene was a little soft, so she took out her phone and took a picture. "Just by this bed." Mu Qiqi walked to Xingxiao's side and said, "I can tell that you like it." Xingxiao took the opportunity to hug Mu Qiqi's waist and kiss her forehead. "Silly thing, thank you." Mu Qiqi was stunned by Xingxiao's sudden thanks. "I suddenly feel the reality of being a father." "You're welcome, Master Xiao. You must be very happy." At this moment, Xingxiao's body was much less fierce and there was more gentleness. This was special only when he was facing Mu Qiqi. Very happy. The 2 of them strolled around the mother and baby shop for a long time, but the only thing that really caught Xingxiao's eye was a bed. The rest were all things useful for mothers. At least they had come to shop. Mu Qiqi was satisfied. "I wanted to buy some things for Feng Shanshan," But I was afraid that she would feel uncomfortable, so I decided to forget it. Both of them were pregnant, but Feng Xianxian had no family, and her whole family revolved around her. It was indeed very uncomfortable. It's good that you know. This thing was still as sensitive as ever. The two of them returned with a full load, and they especially liked the bed. Mama Sheng also liked it when she saw it. Eighth brother is more like a father now. He's better than your father. Papa Sheng had always felt guilty towards Xing Xiao. When his wife thought of him like this, he felt embarrassed. Can we not talk about the past? Chapter 847. It's fine if you buy the bed, but the other things that the child needs, Grandpa will buy. Industrial design, the best understanding of production. That was why Papa Sheng could speak so boldly. Thank you, Dad. There's no need to be so polite. We're family. Papa Sheng waved him off, his eyes full of smiles. Then the couple went upstairs. Xing Xiao placed the crib next to the big bed. That way the atmosphere of the family of three became even more intense. Mu Qiqi hugged him from behind, her little face buried in his back. It's so blissful that it's unreal. You used to be so shameless. Why are you pretending now? Xing Xiao turned around and lifted her chin. Go wash up. It's time to sleep. Are you annoying? I thought you were going to kiss me. Seeing that thing disappear at the door of the bedroom, Xing Xiao slowly curled up the corner of his mouth, his heart extremely warm. Although the school had kept a low profile ever since Mu Qiqi took a leave of absence, the outside world had started to make noise about it. Moreover, ever since Xing Xiao arranged for Mu Qiqi's leave of absence, the outside world rarely saw Mu Qiqi. Was he really seriously ill? When Jin Bo received the news, he could not help but pay attention to Mu Qiqi's movements. Because he knew very well how important Mu Qiqi was to the Xin family and Xing Xiao. It could not be such a coincidence that she suddenly fell sick. So he called Xing Kai. Okay, Mu Qiqi is seriously ill. Did you get any news? I heard about it, Xing Kai answered flatly. He was meeting a client outside. You are a member of the Xing family. You must have the means to find out if this information is true. You know that Mu Qiqi is everyone's Achilles heel if we want to bring down the Xing family. Don't let a good chess piece disappear just like that. All right, Godfather, I will think of a way to find out. Jin Bo wanted to clear the obstacles for Liang. The number one enemy was the Xin family and Xing Xiao. Mu Qiqi's existence was so important. Of course, Jin Bo did not want anything to happen to Mu Qiqi. In fact, Xing Kai knew that there was something strange about Mu Qiqi's illness. However, if Xing Xiao wanted to prevent Jin Bo from hiding Mu Qiqi, it was too early. Moreover, Mu Qiqi was not a person who was willing to be tied down unless she was really sick. Not long after the call with Jin Bo ended, Qingbin called again. I plan to take action tomorrow. After thinking about it, I don't have anyone else to call, so I can only rely on you. Qiuxing, I have a younger brother at home called Xianxia. He's disappointing, but he's still my blood relative. If my plan doesn't succeed, I'll have to trouble you to take care of him. Has everything been planned? Xing Kai asked calmly. Yes, I can't wait any longer. Qingbin replied. Godfather has sent a helper to you. It shouldn't be a problem. A woman has delayed me for a long time. Qingbin snorted coldly. Xing Kai did not ask who it was because that might arouse Qingbin's suspicion. However, Xing Kai knew that it was a woman. Go ahead and do it. Leave your brother to me. Xing Kai hung up and returned to the banquet. He was hesitating whether he should tell Xing Xiao about it. He was also afraid that this was a trap set up by Qingbin and Jin Bo to test him. After all, Xing Xiao had put forward tempting conditions in order to win him back. He knew that Jin Bo was a very suspicious person. The truth was indeed as he had expected. After Qingbin hung up the phone with Xing Kai, he gave Jin Bo a reply. If my plan fails tomorrow, then Mr. Jin, you can also consider crippling Xing Kai. Don't use a suspicious person, don't suspect a person you use. I'm just being careful. After all, no matter how much Xing Kai hated Xing Xiao, he was still a member of the Xing family. If he wanted to use people, he had to determine if they were loyal or not. And Miss Song, Mr. Jin, did you really send her to help me? Regarding this, Jin Bo smiled mysteriously. There was no doubt about it. Song Qiaoji had already told Jin Bo about the interlocking plan. If Qingbin failed, she would act as a hero, save Feng Xianxian and gain her trust. Then while Feng Xianxian was not investigating, she would make her disappear. Tomorrow I wish you success in your revenge. Thank you, Master Jean. Qingbin hung up the phone and gulped down a few mouthfuls of wine. After so many years of grudges, it was time to end it with Tang Yan. Don't blame him for being despicable. Compared to the time when Tang Yan was a spy, he felt that he was much gentler. The next day it was Feng Xianxian's prenatal checkup. Tang Yan had not been on a business trip for several months. The bureau chief could not take the pressure anymore, so he said to him, "After accompanying your wife for the prenatal checkup, there's a big case. The higher-ups specifically asked for your assistance. You might be away from home for a few days. We'll talk about it after I accompany her for the prenatal checkup." The bigger Feng Xianxian's belly was, the more Tang Yan did not want to go back to his previous life. The bureau chief could not do anything to him, so he said, "Tang Yan, I understand you. There's no one at home to take care of your wife, but you have to understand your identity. In the past few months I've tried my best to make things convenient for you. You have to repay me occasionally. In the past few months, you know the rate of cases solved in our branch. I can even transfer Xiaoxing to be your assistant. I'll get her to take care of your wife while you're away. What do you think? Wait for me to come back. Chief, there's not much time." Seeing Tang Yan disappear, the bureau chief sighed. There was nothing he could do about him. Tang Yan went to the branch office for a morning meeting and drove home to pick up Feng Xianxian for the prenatal checkup. Feng Xianxian more or less knew about Tang Yan's dilemma. The two of them had talked about this more than once. However, this man was too stubborn. Perhaps the bureau chief had done his homework, so Professor Tang rushed over before the two of them left. "Your aunt is on the way here. She'll take good care of Xianxian. You can go deal with the bureau chief first." Tang Yan was still hesitant. "Go. Are you afraid that your aunt and I won't be able to take good care of her?" Of course Tang Yan did not mean that. "Uncle and aunt are both here. They'll accompany me to the prenatal checkup. Don't worry." Feng Xianxian did not want to think about men. He was always in a dilemma. Actually, she was already satisfied that he had accompanied her for a few months. "Tang Yan, don't forget that you're also a criminal police officer. Xianxian hasn't been feeling well these few days. Uncle, try to drive slowly. Or I'll get Xiaoxing to come over and send you to the hospital." Feng Xianxian did not know whether to laugh or cry. "How many people do you want to surround me? You don't have the right to speak now. Listen to my arrangements," Tang Yan said stubbornly. "No matter what happens, call me immediately." Chapter 848. Feng Xianxian couldn't do anything to Tang Yan, so she could only wait for Xiaoxing to come over and take his place. Feng Xianxian didn't know that Xiaoxing was good at martial arts. She just felt that Tang Yan was always making things difficult for the little girl. Then Professor Tang, his wife, and Xiaoxing accompanied Feng Xianxian to the hospital. However, because Song Qiaoji had something to do today, another doctor examined Feng Xianxian. "Miss Feng, Dr. Song asked for leave this morning, but she told us to take good care of you, so don't worry." Feng Xianxian smiled. She felt a little embarrassed with 3 family members by her side. "I've read the report. The baby is very healthy and his indicators are normal. When you go back, just pay attention to rest and maintain a happy mood. At home, listen to more music and do prenatal education. But these few days, my heart has been palpitating and uncomfortable. This has something to do with the season. Try to eat a light diet. It's not a big problem. You'll be fine after some recuperation," the other party replied with a smile. "Don't worry, the child is fine." Feng Xianxian heaved a sigh of relief when she heard that the baby was fine. "Sister-in-law, since you're fine, let's go back." Xiaoxing quickly helped Feng Xianxian up. "It's been hard on you. You always waste time accompanying me." Feng Xianxian misunderstood Xiaoxing's meaning. "That's not what I meant. I just feel that I have a great responsibility. If I don't send you home as soon as possible, I'll be very nervous," Xiaoxing quickly explained. "I think you're very easy to get along with. I don't mean to dislike you. I'm just teasing you." Feng Xianxian smiled. "I'm not much older than you. Don't be so serious." Xiaoxing heaved a sigh of relief and patted her chest. "Boss's iceberg face scares me. Don't you think it's very charming?" Feng Xianxian pretended to be surprised and asked. Xiaoxing was stunned for a moment and shook her head like a rattle drum. "When he looks at me, I feel a bone-chilling coldness." Tang Yan was usually serious, so it was no wonder that the little assistant was afraid. because they didn't understand how cold this man was on the outside but warm on the inside. The three of you wait at the door. I'll go get the car, Professor Tang said to his wife and Feng Xianxian. Then hurry up, Mrs. Tang shouted at the professor. Then she placed her palm on Feng Xianxian's bulging abdomen. Xianxian, I think this is a boy. Auntie, you know how to read? Mrs. Tang smiled mysteriously. After a while, Tang Jiao's car stopped in front of them. Get in the car. Let's go home. They smiled and got into the car, thinking that their mission would be over if they could send Feng Xianxian home safely. However, in the dark, after the security guard saw them leave the hospital, he immediately said to the person on the phone, "We've already set off. Then let's follow the plan." On the way back, the car broke down and stopped halfway. They looked at each other and the atmosphere suddenly became tense. Mrs. Tang immediately looked at the professor and said, "Hurry up and go down and take a look." The professor immediately opened the door and got out of the car. Then Mrs. Tang explained, "Your uncle doesn't like to drive, so he doesn't usually use the car. He might have a small problem. Don't be nervous." Feng Xianxian wasn't nervous, but Xiaoxing looked around. This was just an ordinary road, surrounded by greenery, and there were no businesses. Therefore she could not help but hold Feng Xianxian's arm. "It's okay." A moment later, the professor walked around the front of the car and said, "No, we'll probably have to take a taxi." "Then let's take a taxi. It'll be quick." Mrs. Tang helped Feng Xianxian out of the car. Professor Tang called for a tow truck, while Mrs. Tang stopped at the intersection and was about to take a taxi. At that moment, a black car drove over and several men in black got out of the car. When Professor Tang saw this, he immediately ran over and pointed at the 5 men. "What are you doing?" Xiaoxing pushed Feng Xianxian back and said to Mrs. Tang, "Madam, please protect sister-in-law." Xiaoxing, a little girl, was facing 5 grown men without any fear. In addition, Professor Tang still had some foundation, so the current situation was 2 against 5. Song Qiaoji was right. Xiaoxing's skills were indeed strong and powerful. She did not lose to men at all. Mrs. Tang's expression changed. She hid to the side with Feng Xianxian. "Xianxian, call the police." Feng Xianxian took out her phone and was about to make a call when another car of men in black quickly arrived and snatched Feng Xianxian's phone. "Xiaoxing, go save Xianxian." "I'll handle this," Professor Tang quickly shouted when he saw Feng Xianxian being held up. This group of people was simply lawless. They actually dared to make a move in broad daylight. However, he did not know that even the car had been tampered with in advance, which was why it broke down halfway. This was what had happened in the hospital parking lot, but he did not know that. Xiaoxing shook off the 3 men who were pestering her and quickly ran in Feng Xianxian's direction. However, Feng Xianxian was about to be stuffed into the car. Xiaoxing was very anxious. She was afraid that the few of them would use force against Feng Xianxian. She was pregnant now and could not withstand such torment. It was precisely because she was pregnant that Feng Xianxian did not make any unnecessary movements when the conditions did not allow it. This was because she knew that she was pregnant with Tang Yan's child. Soon the alarm sounded not far away. The first 5 men immediately climbed into the car and sped away. On the other side, Feng Xianxian was about to be taken away. At this critical moment, a red car suddenly blocked the way in front of the car. Song Qiaoji got out of the car in a white coat and took out the pepper spray she carried with her. She grabbed one of the men and glanced at his eyes. "Come and help." When Feng Xianxian saw another man get out of the car to grab Song Qiaoji, she quickly got out of the car. She quickly opened Song Qiaoji's car door and sat in. Another man wanted to grab Feng Xianxian, but he was stopped by Xiaoxing. Song Qiaoji made a prompt decision and got into the car. She said to Feng Xianxian, "Sit tight. Dr. Song, why are you here? This is the only way to work. I was doing something and happened to see it when I returned to the hospital." Song Qiaoji explained. "Who are those people? Why are they so bold? Is Jianchuan's public security so chaotic?" "I don't know either. They're probably my husband's enemies." Feng Xianxian only felt the lingering fear now. Then she said to Song Qiaoji, "Dr. Song, can I borrow your phone? It's in my bag." Her phone had been snatched, but Feng Xianxian remembered Tang Yan's phone number. However, Tang Yan could not be reached. Chapter 849. I'll send you to my house first. It's safe this way. When we arrive, I'll think of a way to help you inform them, Song Qiaoji said. Thank you, Dr. Song. After putting down the phone, Feng Xianxian finally understood what it felt like to tremble. Song Qiaoji looked at Feng Xianxian from the rearview mirror and thought to herself, what an innocent woman. What a pity. After all, Professor Tang was old and could not withstand such a big torment. When the police arrived, he was already so tired that he sat on the side and panted. Mrs. Tang hurriedly went up to take care of him. As for the men behind them, when they saw the police arrive, they scattered in all directions. In order to catch one of them, Xiao Xing had disappeared. I wonder how Xianxian is doing. Her phone is broken. Mrs. Tang picked it up from the ground and held it in her hand. Who are these people? Professor Tang wiped his sweat and said slowly, it might be someone trying to take revenge on Tang Yan. Fortunately, the doctor came in time. Then let's hurry to the hospital and contact someone to bring Xianxian back. Mrs. Tang helped the professor up. The two of them showed their identities and got into the police car. Give Tang Yan a call too. I can't get through, Mrs. Tang said bitterly. Really, how did we offend so many people? Isn't this what being a police officer is like? When revenge comes, it's impossible to guard against it. Professor Tang said helplessly, Tang Yan will investigate this matter himself when he comes back. I'm just worried about what will happen to Xianxian in the future. She will suffer with him. Mrs. Tang wanted to defend her nephew, but she didn't know where to start. Who wouldn't be afraid when a pregnant girl encountered such a dangerous situation? Don't talk so much. Let's go. The two of them wanted to go to the hospital and quickly contacted Song Qiaoji. On the other side, Song Qiaoji had already brought Feng Xianxian into the house. Sit anywhere. Don't be nervous. It's safe here. After Song Qiaoji entered the door, she handed Feng Xianxian a pair of slippers. You stay here for now. I think it's chaotic outside. It's enough for your family to handle. Dr. Song, can I use your phone again? Now, she was worried about the safety of Professor Tang and his wife. Also, she wanted to contact Mu Qiqi. At least, the only person she could think of now was Mu Qiqi. Take it. Song Qiaoji took out her phone and handed it to Feng Xianxian. Feng Xianxian immediately dialed, but found that the number could not be dialed at all. There was no signal. Dr. Song, can I go to the balcony? There's no signal here. Okay, I poured you a glass of water. Take your time. Song Qiaoji's smile was warm and not aggressive at all. After getting permission, Feng Xianxian immediately walked to the balcony. Other than Tang Yan's number, she could not remember Mu Qiqi's number completely. She could only try to call it. But at this moment she felt dizzy. By the time she reacted, it was already too late and she fainted on the ground. Song Qiaoji could not bear to see her fall to the ground. Was a pregnant woman of 4 to 5 months going to die in her hands just like that? Then Qingbin called. Miss Song, can you hand him over to me now? I never intended to hand her over to you. I have other uses for Feng Xianxian, so I'll take her with me. I'll send you photos regularly. When the time comes, you can still lure Tang Yan into the trap. Song Qiaoji refused decisively. No, Mr. Jin sent you to assist me. What are you doing now? Qingbin said angrily on the other side of the phone. Don't play tricks on me. I'll do anything for revenge. You already have something on me. I won't give her to you. Besides, I'm only helping my father get rid of Tang Yan. I didn't say that I was going to hand over the pregnant woman. After saying that, Song Qiaoji hung up the phone. Everything was under control. She secretly sent her away. Then she drugged herself and fainted. Everything was flawless. Immediately after, the neighbors found that Song Qiaoji's door was wide open and immediately called the police. When Professor Tang and the other two arrived, Song Qiaoji was also sent to the hospital. The doctor said that she had inhaled a small amount of drugs, and Feng Xianxian had already disappeared. Professor Tang immediately panicked. Song Qiaoji also weakly apologized to the two elders. I'm sorry. I thought that we would be safe if I brought Miss Feng back to my house. I didn't expect someone to follow us. What could Professor Tang say? She had been dragged into this for no reason and was now lying in the hospital injured. Could they blame her? Old Tang Xianxian is missing. The child is missing. Think of a way. Think of a way to contact Tang Yan. Mrs. Tang was anxious. He was perfectly fine. She was handed over to us and now she's gone. If Tang Yan comes back and asks how can we face him? Song Qiaoji closed her eyes as if she was thinking carefully. After a moment she said, before she fainted, Xianxian lent me her phone. I don't know who she called, but it might be someone she trusts. Think about it, other than her husband, who else does she trust? Professor Tang suddenly seemed to have woken up from a dream. Chichi, but Chichi is also sick at home now. How can I disturb her? I'll go back to the station first and tell the chief about this. I can only try to contact Tang Yan. Since the other party is here for Tang Yan, it means that they won't do anything to Xianxia for the time being. You make it sound so easy. Xianxia is pregnant now. She can't withstand any torture. Mrs. Tang was not so optimistic. It's all my fault. Professor Tang was so anxious that he stomped his feet. The matter was neither big nor small, and it was even on the news. Then Su Che received the news and immediately went into the office to tell Xing Xiao, Feng Xianxia is missing. Xing Xiao suddenly raised his head and looked at Su Che. When did this happen? I went home from the prenatal checkup in the morning. I was intercepted on the way. Now her whereabouts are unknown. President, should we tell Madam? Xing Xiao shook his head. I know what I'm doing. Go and understand the process carefully. He could not know about this. This was because he knew Mu Qiqi's personality very well. She only cared about these few people. If she found out that Feng Xianxia was missing, she would not be able to quietly nurture the fetus at home. This was what Xing Kai had said before. Jin Bo had asked Cheng Bin to make a move. Now he had captured Feng Xianxia to deal with Tang Yan. Since it was to wait for Tang Yan, Feng Xianxia's life would not be in danger now, but he did not dare to think about whether the child could still be saved. At the Jianchuan branch office, the professor returned to the station and went straight to the chief's office. Chief, let Tang Yan come back. Something happened. He's on a mission now. He won't be back until the afternoon. Xianxia is missing. She's been kidnapped. Professor Tang said helplessly. Back then I shouldn't have allowed him to go undercover. Otherwise his family wouldn't have been ruined. If anything happens to Xianxia, will Tang Yan still be able to live? Perhaps it was because he heard the professor's last sentence that the chief suddenly came to a realization. He made a phone call. Bring Tang Yan back immediately. Chapter 850. Now that the matter had blown up, everyone knew that Feng Xianxia had been kidnapped, but she was not in Qing Bin's hands. Qing Bin thought about it and felt that it was ironic. He had underestimated Song Qiaoji. However, as Song Qiaoji had said, she had sent Qing Bin photos of Feng Xianxia being tied up. These were enough to lure Tang Yan into the trap. What AB***? What if she told him to play the empty city ruse? However, he had no other choice now. He could only follow his original plan and find a pregnant woman to pretend to be her to lure Tang Yan out, even if it meant perishing together. However, Tang Yan was so cunning and had a close relationship with Xing Xiao. If the two of them worked together, he might not have a chance of winning. Therefore he called Jin Bo. Mr. Jin, Miss Song has taken her away. How am I supposed to deal with Tang Yan? Qiaoji has already reported this to me. Tang Yan is worried and confused. As long as you lure him, he will definitely take the bait. At this juncture, don't cause too many murders. Jin Bo was unmoved. After all, between Qing Bin and Song Qiaoji, he naturally trusted his daughter more. But you also know that Tang Yan is very cunning. He's been a criminal police officer for so many years. It's very likely that he'll see through it. That's why we have to continue holding him in our hands. Only then will he be obedient. With that, Jin Bo hung up. Qing Bin felt his mind explode. He was purely being used by Jin Bo. He had taken such a big risk to capture her, but in the end, Jin Bo had reaped the benefits while he had to perish together with Tang Yan. If he failed, then Feng Xianxia would still be in Jin Bo's hands. Tang Yan would still not dare to act rashly. What a good plan. However, now that things had come to this, there was no turning back for him. In any case, if he killed Tang Yan, he had no intention of leaving alive. In the afternoon, Tang Yan finally rushed back from another city. However, when he returned to the police station, the news he received almost made him break down. Tang Yan, you have to calm down, the chief said to him with some heartache. Tang Yan did not say anything. He took off his police uniform and walked out of the police station. The chief was afraid that something would happen to Tang Yan, so he immediately got someone to stop him. Tang Yan, don't do anything rash. Don't forget your identity. Tang Yan didn't care about anything else. He just pushed away the people who came to stop him. I'll kill whoever stops me today. Xiaolong had never seen Tang Yan like this before. His eyes were red and the veins on his neck were bulging. He was so scared that he took 2 steps back. Professor Tang felt extremely uncomfortable when he saw Tang Yen like that. He walked up and said, "I know that if I don't let you go, you'll definitely go crazy. But Tang Yen, I want you to remember that if there's a glimmer of hope for survival, don't choose to die. If Xianxia and the child lose even a strand of hair, I'll make Qingbin die a horrible death. You're a cop. But who will pity my lover, my child?" Tang Yen said sternly, then opened the door of the off-road vehicle. The chief wanted to get someone to tie him up, but Tang Yen took out a gun and pointed it at his head. "Chief, don't make me crazy. Don't act rashly. All of you step back," the chief quickly shouted. Seeing this, Tang Yen put away his gun and drove away. He didn't want to be a police officer anymore and he didn't want to be a captain anymore. Protecting the country and putting the people first were all thrown to the back of his mind. If he couldn't even protect the most important person, then what was the point of living in this world? Chase after him immediately and bring him back. The chief was heartbroken. Then the police team also set off. However, 5 minutes after Tang Yen left, the police station received an anonymous express delivery. When Xiaolong saw that it was Tang Yan's express delivery, he secretly hid in the bathroom and opened it. Then he sent the photo of Feng Xianxian being tied up to Tang Yen and the letter Qingbin left him. "Captain Tang, you don't need to guess to know who I am. It's time for us to settle the score from back then. If you want to save your woman tonight at 12 o'clock, in the abandoned glass factory on the outskirts of the city. As long as you bring the police here, I guarantee that you'll be able to see your woman's steaming corpse." When Xiaolong sent these over, his hands were actually trembling, because he felt that he was sending Tang Yen to his death. However, that was Captain Tang's lover. That was Captain Tang's life. If he didn't do this, he felt that it would be no different from killing Captain Tang. Tang Yen raced on the road. He really wanted to grab Qingbin's neck and break it. But he couldn't. After that, Tang Yen returned home because he had to prepare for his appointment that night. At that moment there was a knock on the door. Tang Yen immediately stood up vigilantly. "Who is it?" "It's me, Su Che." Tang Yen got up and opened the door. When he saw that it was Su Che, he knew that he was Xing Zhao's lobbyist. "I'm going to Qingbin's appointment tonight. President Xing doesn't want to stop you, but he won't let you die for no reason. President Xing has found something. If you're still willing to listen to it, come with me to Zhongting." Tang Yen did not say anything. "President, I know you're anxious, but there's one thing you need to know. Jin Bo sent a helper to Qingbin, and in the message that Xing Kai sent to the president he mentioned such a person. She's a woman." At this moment, Tang Yan's expression finally showed a subtle change. "Don't blame the president for not telling you because he's not sure either. Now that it's happened, he'll set up a trap according to your previous agreement. The other party knows that you're worried and confused, so you can do whatever you want. However, if you want to save someone, you can't rely on your fists. You have to rely on this." Su Che pointed at his head. "How about it? Are you willing to come with me to see the president now?" "Wait for me to pack up," Tang Yen said in a deep voice. "I'll give you 3 minutes. The people at the police station probably won't be at ease with you wandering around alone." Tang Yen could not deny it, especially since he still had a gun in his hand. However, he did not bring a gun because this was the soul of a police officer. He would not abandon it. He did not need such a thing to deal with Qingbin, so he only put a dagger on his leg. "When we reach Zhongting, Su Che, do me a favor and help me send this back to the police station." When Su Che saw this, he shook his head. "Outsiders shouldn't touch this thing and you shouldn't give it to them either." Tang Yen did not force him. He hid it at home. "You know quite a lot." Then the two of them got into Su Che's car and left. Tang Yen did not drive his off-road vehicle out because it would be too eye-catching. Soon the two of them arrived at Zhongting. Su Che knew that in a situation where he did not know whether Feng Xianxian was safe or not, every minute and second was torture for him. However, the more it was like this, the more it tested a man's endurance. He had once been a spy, so he must have experienced this before. A moment later, the two of them entered Xing Zhao's office. When Xing Zhao saw him, he heaved a sigh of relief. At least, this person had not lost his mind to the point of being hopeless. "Since you're here, let's cut the crap and sort out the key information." Chapter 851. Xianxia glanced at him and moved his lips. Who was the one who coincidentally appeared beside you during this period of time? Tang Yan thought about it for a few seconds and closed his eyes. It seemed that he already had an idea. That's why I sent Su Che to your house. Su Che went to find out what happened today. Qing Bin got someone to damage Professor Tang's car. The car broke down halfway and Qing Bin's people took the opportunity to kidnap someone. At this time the police were alerted. In addition, the little criminal police officer you sent is quite skilled. So if this woman doesn't appear, Qing Bin's plan will fail. She used such a long time to gain Feng Shanshan's trust, saved Feng Shanshan on such an occasion and brought her home. It's too easy. When he recalled that he and Feng Shanshan had gone to listen to this doctor's lecture not long ago, he felt that he might have been blind. Qing Bin asked to meet me tonight. Having said that, Tang Yan took out his phone and placed it in front of Xianxia. But I don't believe that Feng Shanshan is in Qing Bin's hands. Xianxia glanced at the photo on his phone and answered Tang Yan. Previously, Jin Bo sent Xing Yu over for Xing Bowen's case. He said it was a gift for Xing Kai. He's just finding an excuse to attack the Xing family, and his real goal is to test my ability. Now Jin Bo has sent another person to assist Qing Bin. His purpose is to get rid of you. I believe that. After all, in Bai Sini's case, we found a lot of suspicious points related to Jin Bo. He has this reason to get rid of you, but it turns out that Jin Bo must have a backup plan. Why would he hand Feng Shanshan over to Qing Bin just to help him take revenge? What if Qing Bin fails to take revenge and you don't get rid of him? Wouldn't his plan be in vain? So Feng Shanshan should be in this woman's hands. Do you remember that Cheer gave Feng Shanshan a headset with a GPS? At the mention of the GPS, Tang Yan's eyes lit up because the jewelry was still on Feng Shanshan's body. He had never asked her to take it off. Thinking of this, he immediately took out his phone, but the signal was not connected to Feng Shanshan's locator. His heart sank into the abyss once more. Tang Yan put down his phone and closed his eyes again to sort out his thoughts. I have to go because I can't afford to gamble. Xianxia, you know that. If there was anyone in this world who could understand the torment in his heart, it was Xianxia. Without Feng Shanshan and Mu Qiqi in this world, these two men were just shells without hearts and walking corpses. Of course you have to go, but not to die. Xianxia looked at him firmly. Do you remember what we said? Set a trap. Tang Yan had nothing now and he didn't care about anything. Every second that Feng Shanshan was outside was like pouring oil on his heart. What do you think? President, the police are here. Before the two of them could say a few words, Su Che entered the door and interrupted them. Take the elevator and leave. I'll call you on the way. Tang Yan nodded and immediately got up. He followed Su Che and bypassed the police. Then old Qing came to the door. When he saw Xianxia, he was very respectful. "Co Xing, I'm really sorry to disturb you. Has Captain Tang been here before?" "I'm leaving," Xianxia replied as he leaned against the sofa. "Then did he say where he's going?" "To save someone." Xingxiao's answer was equivalent to not answering. "Co Xing, we're just afraid that something will happen to Captain Tang. Sister-in-law has been taken away. We're also very worried, but impulsiveness won't solve the problem. Don't worry. He's not as weak as you think." With that, Xianxia got up and returned to his desk. Actually, if he wanted to know whether Feng Shanshan was in Qing Bin's hands or not, he only needed to trick her. Then Xianxia asked the technical department to quickly strengthen the search for the locator on Feng Shanshan's body. Today was the day of the prenatal checkup. Logically speaking, Feng Shanshan should have called Mu Qiqi after she was done. However, it was already evening and she still hadn't received any news from Feng Shanshan. Xianxia had already called Mama Xing in the morning. He couldn't let Mu Qiqi see the news on TV or on her phone. But this was the information age. Mama Xing tried her best to distract Mu Qiqi, but after dinner she still said to Mama Xing, "Mommy, I want to go down and see Feng Shanshan." "Didn't eighth brother say it? It's better if you don't go out." "But I can't get through to Feng Shanshan's phone." Mu Qiqi was a little worried. She rarely does this. She also has a husband and a family. If something really happens, she'll definitely tell you. Don't worry. You're pregnant now, so don't let your imagination run wild. Go to sleep. Mama Xing looked at the time. "Mommy, I'll wait a little longer." Mama Xing was helpless, so she looked at Papa Xing. Papa Xing had an idea and immediately took out the design drawings. "Since you can't sleep now, Come and take a look at the baby's toys. I plan to build a playground for my little grandson in the garden. These are my design drawings. Chichi, take a look. When Mu Chichi saw the drawings, her gaze was indeed attracted. Seeing this, Mama Sheng finally heaved a sigh of relief. After nightfall, Jianchuan was extremely hot. Tang Yen sneaked into the abandoned site in advance. Then he lay on the ceiling and installed a pinhole camera. In such an empty hall there was nothing. Other than an abandoned table, there was nowhere to hide. After observing the surroundings, Tang Yen left the abandoned site and lay beside a garbage station not far away. Tonight was the final battle between him and Qing Bin. It should have been settled a long time ago. He only regretted not killing this group of people when he was a spy. That was why there was such a situation now. The person he loved the most was being held hostage by this group of people. Then Xiao called. I found an address near Qing Bin's house. Give me the signal source and the address, Tang Yen said in a low voice over the phone. I can't wait any longer. If you rashly go to Qing Bin's house, there will definitely be a trap. Do you think he doesn't know what you're thinking? Moreover, Su Che just came back from that area and heard about something. A family lost a pregnant woman and has already reported it. What did this mean? Feng Xianxian was indeed not in Qing Bin's hands. In order to pass off the fake as the real one, Qing Bin had caught someone else to replace her. If this is true, what do you plan to do with that innocent pregnant woman? Tang Yan's hands could not help but tremble. This was because he could not let innocent people sacrifice themselves because of him. Feng Xianxian was his wife and lover. If he could not escape in the end, at most he would die for Feng Xianxian. But how could he repay the innocent people? Chapter 852. Don't say such discouraging words. Dr. Song has already been controlled for you. We'll wait for you to come back. It all depended on whether Jing Bo wanted Song Qiaoji or Feng Xianxian. Thank you. There were thousands of words, but there was nothing else. There was not much hesitation between men. They were straightforward with each other. During this time, Xiao asked Su Che to secretly check the surveillance cameras around Song Qiaoji. How did she get out where she was hiding now, and if it was really that difficult to find out? Moreover, the jewelry that should have appeared on Feng Xianxian's body had appeared near Qing Bin's house. However, the person in Qing Bin's hands was not Feng Xianxian. What did this mean? The things on Feng Xianxian might have been sent to Qing Bin in order to pass off the fake as the real one. Half an hour after you go in, I'll call the police. Whatever you want to do, settle it within that half an hour. Why didn't he call the police from the beginning? What if their judgment was wrong? Whether it was Feng Xianxian or another pregnant woman, their lives were equally important. Therefore, Xiao gave him half an hour to settle his personal grudges. Tang Yen put down his phone and sat next to the trash heap because he could observe the situation of the abandoned glass factory nearby. He could also immediately know that Qing Bin had brought someone over. He only hoped that the heavens would bless him and not let him be alone again. Or let him die alone and not hurt his wife and children. At 8:30 p.m. Xiao was still not home. Mu Chichi woke up from her nap and found it strange that she did not see him. She called Xiao. Why aren't you home tonight? Xiao was in the car. When he heard the little one's voice, he immediately let go of his fierceness and said to her, Secretary, he asked me to go over. Mom said you were still sleeping, so I didn't call you. Is there something urgent? Probably, Xiao said lightly, trying his best to make his tone sound calm. All right then. Come back early. When you're back, bring me to see Feng Xianxian. I haven't been able to contact her all day. I don't know what's wrong. Okay. Xiao only said one word. Then you go ahead. With that, Mu Chichi hung up. She did not know why, but everyone was acting strangely tonight. However, no matter how strange it was, she was still pregnant and could not act rashly. Even if it was only a 10-minute distance, she promised that she would not go out. It was 10 o'clock at night. The Jianchuan branch office was still in an emergency meeting because Xiao brought news about Tang Yen. He also said that the two of them had agreed to meet at midnight. He was worried that Tang Yen would use too much force and cause both sides to suffer a loss in the end. Xiao was calmer than the director. If Tang Yen is really a reckless person, he wouldn't have endured it until now. He doesn't want others to be implicated because of him. So, director, you shouldn't worry about whether he will get into trouble or not. Instead, you should think about how to help him save people. Xing, are you so sure that Tang Yan won't kill Qingbin? He wants to, but he won't because he knows that if he kills someone then he and Feng Xianxian will have no future. Not only that, but he also has the self-awareness as a police officer. His soul won't allow him to do it. The director looked at Xing Xiao in surprise. Why did he feel that after working with Tang Yan for so long, he did not know him as well as Xing Xiao did? Then you should have told us this afternoon. If I had told you and pursued him relentlessly, do you think he would still be able to wait so calmly at the agreed place with Qingbin? The director looked at Xing Xiao thoughtfully. Especially when he looked at Xing Xiao's calm eyes. This man had always maintained his unchanging emotions, as if he did not know what panic was. Okay, I'll go and deploy the rescue plan now. I hope I can make it in time. Wait. Xing Xiao took out his phone and sent the photo to the director. This is the terrain survey that Tang Yan did in advance. It's convenient for you to deploy. Zhou Xian, it's a pity that you're not a police officer. Hurry up. You still have 3 hours. Xing Xiao looked at his watch and reported the time to the director. Once tonight's matter was resolved, it would be time for him and Tang Yan to counterattack. Can I ask why you're helping Tang Yan so much? The director did not understand. As the CEO of a well-known company, Xing Xiao was running around for a criminal police officer. It was unbelievable. For my Chia. Because he did not want Chia to worry and be sad because of Feng Xianxian. Okay, then let's stop here for today. I'll go and deploy the plan first. With that, the director quickly left the office. It was already 10 o'clock at night. Feng Xianxian had been unconscious for an entire day and finally woke up in a small bathroom. When she woke up, she found that her original clothes and jewelry were gone. The GPS that Chia had given her was hidden inside, but now she did not know where it was. She was very hungry and very tired. However, she did not dare to make a sound because she did not want to be sure that she had fallen into Qingbin's hands. If that was the case, that man must be in great danger. However, before she could think too much, the bathroom door was suddenly pushed open. A middle-aged woman squatted in front of Feng Xianxian with hot milk in her hand. Drink it. You must be hungry too. Who are you? Where is this? Can you? Miss, since you're pregnant here, don't resist. This is good for you and the child. What do you think? The middle-aged woman's words were cold and ruthless. She brought the milk to Feng Xianxian's mouth and poured it down her throat. Can I drink it myself? No, I'm afraid you'll hurt yourself. With that, the middle-aged woman continued to pour it down her throat until the cup was empty. Have a good rest tonight. With that, the woman got up and closed the bathroom door, not giving Feng Xianxian any time to ask any more questions. Feng Xianxian observed the bathroom carefully. She smelled something. She had smelled it at Song Qiaoji's house in the morning. It seemed to be the fragrance of gardenias. Did this mean that she was still in that apartment? Thinking of this, Feng Xianxian was a little excited, but soon she was discouraged. In this season there were gardenias everywhere and they might not be in the original area. What would happen outside tonight? That man, was he crazy with anxiety? If it was Qingbin, Feng Xianxian did not dare to think too much about it because he was here for revenge. Tang Yan would definitely be tortured by him. However, she was locked up here. What could Qingbin use to threaten Tang Yan? Thinking of this, she had more questions in her heart, but there were no answers. She had never thought that she would experience a real kidnapping. Feng Xianxian thought to herself, when danger really comes, who would she rather be alive? Chapter 853. At 11:30 p.m., a silver pickup truck drove in from the night and stopped outside the glass factory. Tang Yan lay on the ground and watched as Qingbin dragged a big box and unloaded it from the car. With the help of 2 people, he entered the glass factory. If he guessed correctly, the box contained the innocent pregnant woman. Qingbin had chosen such a place to prevent Tang Yan from playing tricks in such a complicated environment. The surroundings were empty and there was nothing. He did not believe that Tang Yan could still play any tricks like this. Tie her to the chair, Qingbin instructed his 2 subordinates. The pregnant woman was wearing Feng Xianxian's clothes and jewelry. Her figure was similar to Feng Xianxian's and she was covered with a black cloth. He did not believe that Tang Yan would still be able to recognize her. The pregnant woman was unconscious and had inhaled a small amount of drugs. When Tang Yan arrives, stand at the door and keep watch. If there's any movement, give me the signal immediately. Got it, Brother Qing. Qingbin tied bombs to himself and the pregnant woman. Whoever dared to approach would turn everyone into meat paste. Time was ticking away. The people from the branch office had also appeared in the wasteland a few kilometers away from the abandoned factory with the police force. The police in charge of investigation had already quietly gone over. The main force would move according to the tip-off from their colleagues in front and narrow the range. The chief was personally in charge, afraid that Tang Yan would do something stupid. In contrast, Xianxia was much calmer. There was no trace of panic on his sharp face. It was as if he could stabilize the situation better than the chief. Time slowly passed until 12 o'clock. Tang Yan got up from the side of the garbage and approached the glass factory without saying a word. "Brother Qing, he's here." Qing Bin's subordinate reminded him. "He came alone." "There's no trace of the police?" "Indeed not. He didn't even drive a car," the subordinate replied. "Let him in." Qing Bin could not wait any longer. He stood behind the pregnant woman with a homemade weapon in his hand. When he saw Tang Yan enter, he was extremely excited. Tang Yan was alone and did not bring anything with him. His body had also been searched by the two subordinates. Other than a dagger, he did not even bring a gun. A criminal police officer did not bring a gun. "I'm here." Tang Yan walked to a place 4 meters away from Qing Bin and stopped. "What do you want for you to let her go?" "Release him." Qing Bin laughed. "Tang Yan, as a police officer, you shouldn't be so whimsical. Wouldn't it be nice for you and your beloved woman to die together as a family of 3? Let her go and I can let you do whatever you want." "Do you think you still have the right to negotiate with me?" Qing Bin shouted. "Tie him up." Tang Yan had been observing the pregnant woman. From this, he could conclude that it was indeed not his Xianxia. It was just an innocent and pitiful victim. The two men moved quickly. They quickly took out the rope they carried and tied Tang Yan up. Tang Yan was pushed to the ground. He lay on the ground without any signs of resistance. "You've gotten what you wanted. Can you let this innocent pregnant woman go now?" Qing Bin was stunned for a moment and his expression changed slightly. "Tang Yan, this is your woman. Don't try to play tricks with me. If she wasn't your woman, would you be willing to be helped here by me? Beat him up." The two subordinates pounced on him almost at the same time and kicked Tang Yan's back and lower abdomen. After about 3 minutes, Qing Bin let go when he saw Tang Yan vomiting blood. "Don't beat him to death. I haven't let him feel the torture I've suffered over the past few years." Tang Yan curled up on the ground in a sorry state. His mouth and eyes were full of blood. "Now, can you let that innocent pregnant woman go?" Qing Bin was surprised. Seeing that Tang Yan was willing to be beaten, he almost laughed out of anger. "How do you know that she's not your woman? Xianxia doesn't have such a big shoe size." Qing Bin looked at the woman's feet and immediately deflated. He nodded. "Seems that our Captain Tang is really in love. He knows his woman very well. Since you've already recognized her, I'm not afraid to tell you that she's indeed not your woman." With that, Qing Bin removed the woman's hood. "She's an innocent woman. I captured her because of you. Do you want to know where your woman is?" Qing Bin squatted on the ground and looked at Tang Yan. "She's in a dark place, covered in blood. Alright, she even had a miscarriage. Did you know that? Blood flowed all over the ground. I've never seen such a tragic scene." "Shut up!" Tang Yan shouted sternly. Qing Bin took the opportunity to grab Tang Yan's collar and fiercely pull him in front of him. "So many brothers have gone to prison because of you. Their families have all been ruined. Their wives are sick and dead. Your woman's current state is considered light." After hearing Qing Bin's words, Tang Yan suddenly laughed. "A criminal is a criminal and trash is trash. Even sophistry can be so shameless. Because of your so-called brothers who sell drugs and commit all kinds of crimes, how many families in this world have been broken up and their families separated? You're talking to me about justice." Qing Bin was suddenly enraged. He punched Tang Yan's face again and again to vent the hatred in his heart. "They're all our brothers. They're brothers with you, but they're enemies with me. A police officer is a police officer and a bandit is a bandit." Tang Yan answered firmly. Qing Bin could not tame Tang Yan, so he stood up in exasperation. Then he slowly revealed a meaningful smile. "Didn't you say that a police officer is a police officer and a bandit is a bandit? Alright, then I'll let you, a police officer, kill the pregnant woman in front of you with your own hands. Let's see how many tough bones you still have. After hearing Qing Bin's words, Tang Yan suddenly laughed, even though he was covered in injuries. Looking at you like this, I'm even more certain that my woman is intact because you're just a pawn of Jin Bo. You don't have the right to control my woman. As long as she's not in your hands, what do I have to fear? I killed a pregnant woman because you threatened me. The law will give me a lighter punishment, but you will die a graveless death. Who do you think will be able to leave alive today? Qing Bin suddenly sneered. You and I should all be buried with our dead brothers. On the other side, the chief was very anxious. How's the situation inside? Qing Bin is very agitated. Captain Tang's situation isn't good. If he gets beaten again, I'm afraid he won't be able to take it. He can take it, Xianxia told the chief with certainty. He told me that he'll wait for me for half an hour. Chapter 854. Director, when can we break through? Sniper, is the sniper in position? The director was very anxious, but no matter how anxious he was, he had to wait for the right time. Now was not the best time to save people. The sniper is looking for the best sniping position. This Tang Yan, you must hold on. The director was so excited that he almost jumped up. This was his beloved general. It was now 12:20 p.m. Mu Qiqi waited for him for most of the night, but he did not come home. Downstairs, Mama Xing was still watching TV. She was usually asleep, but today she was still eating melon seeds downstairs. This made Mu Qiqi even more certain that something must have happened. Qi, why are you up? Mama Xing turned around and looked at her. She immediately gave her a blanket. Mommy, just tell me what happened, okay? Mu Qiqi asked Mama Xing directly. Master Xiao never came home so late. Even if secretary he was looking for him, he would not let him go so late. Moreover, she couldn't get through to Feng Xianxian, which made her even more confused. Mama Xing knew that she was smart and could not hide it anymore. So she helped her sit on the sofa and said, I can tell you, but you must promise me that you must face it rationally. Mommy, don't think of me as so weak. Mama Xing deliberated for a moment and said slowly, I'm not afraid that you're weak. I'm just afraid that you'll be worried that Feng Xianxian is missing. After hearing the last 6 words, Mu Qiqi felt a chill spread from her heart to her limbs. 8th brother and the police are still rescuing people. Stay at home and don't distract him. You know 8th brother doesn't like to meddle in other people's business. I know, he did it for me. Mu Qiqi nodded. To prevent her from worrying, to prevent her imagination from running wild, and to prevent her from losing her friends, Xianxia had to get involved in these cases. Don't worry, I won't run out without permission, but I definitely can't fall asleep. Mommy, don't worry about me, I'll wait for him in the living room. I'll stay with you. Mama Xing smiled at her. At this time she needed her family to care for her. Thinking of the missing Feng Xianxian, Mu Qiqi felt sad. Mommy, it's so good to have you. The time was 12:29 p.m. Qing Bin asked 2 subordinates to help Tang Yan up and return the dagger to him. Of course, Tang Yan was unwilling to do it, but Qing Bin pointed the gun at the pregnant woman's head. If you don't do it, I'll do it. You make your choice. I'll give you 10 seconds. Tang Yan, you have to be clear. If I make a move, there will be a few holes in the pregnant woman's head. I can't guarantee that. I might also shoot through her stomach. Tang Yan stood shakily in front of the pregnant woman. His hands were untied and the blood on his body was dripping down along the dagger. The ground gradually turned red. 10, 9, 8. As time passed, Qing Bin loaded the gun in his hand. Tang Yan tried his best to open his swollen eyes. Then he said hoarsely, let me. If you admitted defeat earlier, you wouldn't have wasted so much time. Qing Bin put down his gun and gestured with his chin. Tang Yan's feet were tied and he could not move at all. Qing Bin wanted to see Tang Yan kill someone with his own hands. He wanted to see the police kill someone. However, there were only a few seconds left before the half an hour that Tang Yan had mentioned. Tang Yan closed his eyes and finally raised the dagger at the pregnant woman. However, just as the tip of the dagger was about to fall, he lost his balance and fell to the ground. Don't play tricks on me. Qing Bin kicked Tang Yan again. Tang Yan took the opportunity to pick up the dagger. He raised his hand and cut Qing Bin's right Achilles tendon. Qing Bin screamed and covered his foot as he howled loudly. Perhaps he had received a signal, but the sniper immediately saw the opportunity. Through the broken glass window, he aimed at Qing Bin's head and blew it up. When Qingbin's two subordinates saw this, their legs immediately turned to jelly. They panicked and ran away. However, the police had already taken control of the surroundings. When Qingbin was torturing Tang Yan, he was not vigilant of his surroundings. Neither of his two subordinates ran away. Tang Yan was lying on the ground, covered in blood. However, he still used a black hood to cover Qingbin's appearance after he died. He did not want this innocent pregnant woman to be traumatized. Then the people from the police station rushed in. After confirming that Qingbin was dead, they carefully removed the bomb and destroyed it. Old Cheng and Officer Long immediately went forward to save him. "Captain Tang, are you all right?" He was covered in blood. How could he be fine? Tang Yan. The chief's expression was also full of concern. "I can still hold on." After Tang Yan said this, he fainted. However, he said it while looking at the chief and Xianxia. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and send him to the hospital." The chief immediately ordered Old Cheng when he saw that he had fainted. Seeing this, the chief sighed. "At least there's no big trouble. Piaoxing, you know Tang Yan. It's too late today. Piaoxing, go home and rest." "Tang Yan, don't worry, I'll make the arrangements. This is my left arm. Can I break it myself?" Seeing the blood on the ground, Xianxia returned to the car. He rubbed the space between his eyebrows and instructed Su Che, "Drive. Let's go home." "Young madam already knows." Xianxia did not say anything. He just took a deep breath. Even if he went home now, he would have an explanation. At 1 o'clock in the morning, Xianxia finally returned home. When he saw Mu Chichi lying on the sofa, he quietly took off his coat and hung it on the hanger. When Mu Chichi woke up and saw Xianxia, she immediately propped herself up. "How is it?" Xianxia did not answer. He unbuttoned his shirt, sat on the sofa and pulled Mu Chichi into his arms. "Qingbin is dead." Then Captain Tang, "In the hospital," Xianxia answered. "Everything is under control. Don't worry." Then Fengshen, "Is there still no news?" "We also have something on her, so you just need to stay at home and wait for the news." Xianxia held her shoulder and comforted her. "It's 1 o'clock. If you don't sleep, the baby needs to sleep too. You've been tired all day. I'll go get you a bath." "No need. I'll take a shower. You go back to your room first." Mu Chichi knew that even if she had big questions, she could not ask too much, so she obediently returned to her room. Xianxia followed her back to her room and saw her lying on the bed with her eyes closed. After washing up, he lay beside her. Mu Chichi did not sleep well, so Xianxia hugged her tightly and whispered in her ear, "It's okay. Don't be afraid." Qingbin was dead. This meant that Tang Yan's predicament had been resolved. Next. Chapter 855. After Tang Yan was sent to the hospital, the doctor immediately examined him. 2 of his ribs were broken and his spleen was ruptured and bleeding. There were also countless injuries on his body. The doctor immediately performed the surgery. Outside the operating theater, Old Cheng was guarding the door. It was not convenient for him to inform Professor Tang and his wife now. Most importantly, Feng Shanshan's whereabouts were still unknown. Old Cheng sat on the bench and sighed. They did not know that Tang Yan had been a spy. Just now, when she heard the chief mention it, she knew that Tang Yan had such an experience and made such a contribution. This Qingbin was here for revenge. "Boss, please don't let anything happen to you. I was angry at you for being a coward. I really didn't know that you actually worked so hard as a spy." Captain Tang keeps things to himself and never says anything. He looks cold on the surface, but he's actually more loyal than anyone else. He must have sensed the danger in Bai Sini's case, so he didn't let us investigate further. You have to trust his judgment. Xiaolong patted Old Cheng's shoulder to comfort him. "Yes, now I just want to save sister-in-law." "Don't worry, sister-in-law will be fine." Xiaolong patted Old Cheng on the shoulder. 2 hours later, Tang Yan's surgery was over and he was sent back to the general ward. However, half an hour after the anesthesia wore off, Tang Yan woke up and wanted to get out of bed. "Boss, do you want to die?" Old Cheng had only gone to fetch water. When he came back, he saw Tang Yan getting up, so he quickly went forward to help him. "I still have to save Xianxia," Tang Yan said with a pale face. "Sister-in-law is fine. You're the one who's in trouble now." Old Cheng held him down. "If anything happens to you, what will happen to sister-in-law?" I know you're worried, but at least you can rest for the night. Even Iron Man would not be able to get out of bed immediately after the surgery, right? Tang Yan did not say anything. He just covered his wound. Although Qingbin was dead, Xianxia was still in Jinbo's hands. When President Sheng left, he asked me to tell you not to act rashly tonight. Tomorrow he will give you an explanation. Perhaps he was afraid that Tang Yan would do that. Tang Yan did not move, nor did he say a word. Aren't you going to listen to Chief Sheng? Don't you believe him? Of course he believed it, but his heart was similarly tormented. Boss, be obedient. The director has aged 10 years because of you. Tang Yan clutched his chest. Finally he sighed and admitted defeat. Qingbin was executed on the spot. Jinbo only received the news before dawn. He knew that if Feng Xianxian was handed over to Qingbin, she might have already been rescued. Fortunately, his daughter was reliable. So Jinbo immediately called Song Qiaoji. Daughter, is Feng Xianxian okay? Don't worry, Dad. She's in my hands. Song Qiaoji replied. She was still in the hospital. Although she had drugged herself, it was a little heavy, so she decided to rest in the hospital. That's good. Qingbin is dead. He can't do anything right. Keep an eye on him. If Tang Yan dares to act recklessly, let his family be destroyed. I know. In 2 days your brother will be back. At that time the whole family will have a meal. All right. From the beginning to the end, Song Qiaoji appeared very calm because she and her so-called father were not as close as she had imagined. Then the two of them hung up the phone. At that moment, a figure flashed into the ward and quickly placed a dagger on Song Qiaoji's neck. I'm afraid you won't be able to have a meal. Miss Song, come with me. Song Qiaoji knew that she could not see the person's face clearly, so she was taken away from the hospital. She wanted to ask for help, but the hospital seemed to have been bribed by that person and did not give her a chance to see him. Then Song Qiaoji was brought back to her home and tied to a chair. Who are you? Song Qiaoji's head was covered as she asked the agile man. You don't have to be afraid. At most you'll be treated the same as Feng Xianxian tonight. You'll be treated the same way she was treated. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't kidnap Feng Xianxian. Song Qiaoji immediately resisted. I'm also a victim. Besides, I saved her yesterday. You don't have to tell me this. Someone will come looking for trouble with you tomorrow morning. With that, the man lay down on the sofa and copied Song Qiaoji's phone number. What the hell are you doing? Don't touch my things. I'm just a weak woman. Don't go too far. The man was unmoved. After copying the number, he threw the phone in front of her. You're not a woman. You're a poisonous snake. Then Song Qiaoji fell into panic. The next morning, Song Qiaoji woke up and found herself on a reef in the sea. Beneath her feet was an abyss. She was still tied up, and if she moved slightly she could fall to her death in the pile of rocks. Dr. Song, is there anything you want to tell me? Not far away, Tang Yan covered his wound and sat next to her. For example, tell me, where's my wife now? I don't know what you're talking about. Tang Yan, you're a police officer. How can you break the law? It doesn't matter if you don't tell me. There will always be someone willing to tell me. With that, Tang Yan dialed the number that Song Qiaoji had called last night. Oh. Jinbo still did not know that Song Qiaoji had been arrested. Mr. Jin, right? Jinbo's body trembled and he immediately sat down. Who are you? Song Qiaoji is in my hands. Do you want Song Qiaoji or Feng Xianxian? You can make a choice immediately. You also know that as police officers, we also have a set of methods to extort confessions. If she accidentally says more in front of me, I can't guarantee that I won't leak it out for you. If you want to destroy my family, I'll also make you unable to live in peace. Jinbo reacted for a moment and knew the other party's identity. You're Tang Yan. I've already resigned from my position as a police officer. I just want to play a game with you. Do you want to continue holding Feng Xianxian hostage, or do you want your daughter? The corners of Jinbo's mouth trembled a little, but he steeled his heart and said, if you have the ability, kill her. I have many daughters and she's not missing. Besides, you won't be able to get anything out of her. Tang Yan, you're just wasting your energy. Of course, I'm willing to keep Feng Xianxian. This way you won't dare to act rashly. Right then. It looks like you've chosen not to have your daughter. With that, Tang Yan grabbed Song Qiaoji's hand and pushed her down the rock. Song Qiaoji screamed, no. Chapter 856. Therefore Song Qiaoji's entire body was suspended in midair. Of course she was afraid. He was afraid of death. Tang Yan, pull me up. I'll tell you where Feng Xianxian is hidden. I hid her. No one knows, not even my father, Song Qiaoji shouted in the air. I don't believe you. Tell me the address of the hidden person first. Tang Yan lowered her a little more. Song Qiaoji couldn't take it anymore and was about to answer Tang Yan. Tang Yan took the opportunity to turn off his phone. He wanted to make Jinbo, who was on the other end of the line, anxious. She's locked up upstairs. Really? After Tang Yan heard this, he immediately called Su Che. After Su Che heard this, he went out to save her. Pull me up first. Don't count on it until you find her. Tang Yan coldly rejected her request. A heartless, cold-blooded female killer shouldn't be afraid of this height because you know very well that she won't die, but it will definitely be very painful. Her bones will be fractured and she might even be disabled from now on. Tang Yan, you're not a man. If he couldn't even protect his wife and child, of course he wasn't a man. Tang Yan sneered. He had suffered such a serious injury yesterday. Didn't he have to run around to save his wife and child's life today? Half an hour later, Su Che arrived at Song Qiaoji's apartment and immediately went upstairs to search. However, there was no one in the room. However, Su Che found that Feng Xianxian had indeed been locked up here. Therefore he immediately called Tang Yan back. She's been moved. Hearing these words, Tang Yan put down another piece of rope. She's been moved. That's impossible. I hid her. No one knows, Song Qiaoji shouted. Tang Yan didn't want to waste his breath with her, so he pressed the remaining rope under the rock. If you can hold on until someone comes to save you, you'll be lucky. After saying that, Tang Yan was about to leave, but Song Qiaoji shouted again, Trust me, I can find that woman. She's not Jinbo's person? She's not. I invited her from outside. After receiving this news, Tang Yan only thought of one possibility. Feng Xianxian might have been secretly transferred by that woman, and the purpose. When he thought of this, Tang Yan's heart tightened again, but he also relaxed a little. This was because she was not in Jinbo's hands, so her life was temporarily not in danger. However, what he was worried about was that Feng Xianxian might have been sold. Then he pulled Song Qiaoji up and told her very seriously, You can escape or choose to cooperate. I thought that the police were all righteous and wouldn't do such a thing. Song Qiaoji was a little surprised. According to my temper back then, I would have strangled you to death, tied you to a rock and thrown you into the sea. That's because the person you kidnapped is my lover. I'm already being extremely polite to you. Tang Yan's expression was cold and his eyes were abnormally cold. This caused Song Qiaoji's body to tremble and he took 2 steps back in fear. Because she believed that Tang Yan could really kill for Feng Xianxian. But you should also thank me. If I didn't take Feng Xianxian away and hide her, would you have been so easy to deal with Qing Bin? After hearing this, Tang Yan frowned slightly. He did not understand. Go find him. I promise you. At this moment the hospital was in a complete mess. When old Qing came to deliver food this morning, he found that Tang Yan had already disappeared. He could not be found anywhere and he did not bring any identification or other things. If Tang Yan had faced Qing Bin as a police officer yesterday, then today he only wanted to be a husband and do what a man and a father should do. If he could not find Feng Xianxian, he did not want to return to the police force because he felt that his life had lost its meaning. For this reason, old Qing went to Zhongting to look for Xing Xiao. However, Xing Xiao only gave him one sentence. Give him some time. Then he won't. Old Qing was afraid that he would be impulsive and make a mistake. After all, which man would not go crazy when he encountered such a thing? That's also his choice. Old Qing thought about it carefully. If it were him, he might not be able to do better, so he gave up. I understand. At this moment, Song Qiaoji brought Tang Yan to a housekeeping company near the apartment. How dare you kidnap someone so brazenly? Song Qiaoji did not answer him. She only found the woman's information from the housekeeping company and handed it to Tang Yan. It's this woman. Tang Yan struggled to support his body and fell to the ground. Song Qiaoji immediately wanted to help him up. How are you? You can run away now. Song Qiaoji shook her head. My identity has been exposed. Where else can I run to? Whether it's you or Dad, I can't explain it to them. I'll find Feng Xianxian first. And then you'll think of a way to trick her away. You'd better use all your connections to find her one step ahead of time. Otherwise, when my dad gets his hands on her, you won't be able to get anything. Tang Yan closed his eyes and calmed himself down. Then he sent the woman's information to Old Qing and Xianxia. Help me find her. Xianxia is in her hands. Since she was not in Jin Bo's hands, wouldn't it be much easier? The police station and Xianxia began to work. I suddenly don't understand you. Tang Yan sat on the ground and looked at Song Qiaoji. You don't need to understand. Don't touch Bai Sini's case anymore. Someone from above will take over this case. Protect your wife and child well. You. Tang Yan was a little surprised, but it was only for a moment before he hid his emotions. Song Qiaoji seized the opportunity to grab the ashtray on the housekeeping company's desk and smash it at Tang Yan's head. Then she took the opportunity to escape. Sir, are you okay? Sir? The housekeeping company's staff had only gone to make tea. When they came back and saw the scene, they were shocked. Tang Yan covered his head and stood up. He couldn't care less about anything else now. Finding the person was more important. Tang Yan did not know how he spent the whole day and night. The police had found a lot of clues, but they did not find the person. But at least this could prove that the person had been taken away by the middle-aged woman and not Jin Bo's men. As for Song Qiaoji, Tang Yan did not know if her words could be trusted or if they were good or bad. Dragging his heavily injured body, Tang Yan fainted on the street after taking 2 steps. When passers-by saw him, they immediately called the ambulance and he was sent back to the hospital. When he woke up again, it was already afternoon. When Old Qing saw that Tang Yan had woken up, he quickly said, "Boss, did you have a nightmare?" "Don't worry, everyone is doing their best to find sister-in-law. We'll definitely find her. Don't sneak out again. When sister-in-law finds out, she'll definitely be very sad." Tang Yan sat on the hospital bed in a daze. He had never felt this way in so many years. "I'm afraid." Chapter 857. Old Qing could not take it anymore, so he swore, "We will definitely find sister-in-law. We will." Tang Yan could not speak and Old Qing could not take it anymore. He was afraid that something would happen to Tang Yan again, so he immediately went to find a doctor. However, he had only gone out for 2 minutes. When he came back, Tang Yan was gone again. No one could protect a person who was about to go crazy. Xing Zhao's network went down and found some clues. The middle-aged woman who had taken Feng Xianshan away should have a gang, and they were moving between each other. Feng Xianshan was not an obedient and docile person. If she was sober, she would definitely think of a way to contact someone close to her or the police. However, the bad thing was that she was afraid that the other party would give her medicine. Adults could endure the torture, but what about the child in her womb? After an entire day of investigation, the police locked onto the suspect and the suspect's car. In the end, they found that the car with Feng Xianshan was speeding towards J City. That place was a mess and Jin Bo had many eyes and ears. If Feng Xianshan was really taken there, the consequences would be unimaginable. Xing Xiao had promised Xiao Qir that he would give Tang Yan an explanation. Therefore, after receiving the news, he immediately asked Su Che to take action. "Don't drive. I know your motorcycle skills are very good. Take a shortcut and intercept them. You know the license plate number." After Tang Yan came out of the hospital, he immediately called Xiao Long to confirm the current progress. Although Xiao Long knew that he should not tell him, he still could not resist his interrogation, so he told him the license plate number and the direction in which Feng Xianshan was being sent. Tang Yan did not say anything. He went straight home. Enduring his injuries, he rode his motorcycle and chased after Su Che. Along the way, he thought like crazy that if that group of people dared to do anything to Feng Xianshan, he would not care about the consequences and make them die without a complete corpse. Time passed minute by minute, and the effects of the medicine on Feng Xianshan's body gradually faded. However, when she opened her eyes, other than the middle-aged woman who was looking at her, there was also a middle-aged man and a young man who was driving. "Where are you going?" "There's no room for you to ask. Rest." The middle-aged woman was still very stubborn. "Are you short of money? As long as you send me back, my husband will give you a lot of money." "We don't lack money, we lack women," the middle-aged man replied with a chuckle. Feng Xianshan lay in the car and did not dare to move. After all, she had not eaten anything since yesterday. Now her entire body was weak and did not have the slightest bit of strength. It seemed that she couldn't do anything to these three people now. But she missed Tang Yan. She didn't know how he was and whether he was still alive. Qingbin was so crazy. Something happened to Tang Yan, what would happen to her and the baby in the future? Thinking of this, Feng Xianxian could not help but feel sad and tears flowed from the corner of her eyes. Perhaps seeing that she was sad, the middle-aged woman immediately said, "It's useless to cry. When you get there, serve your new man well. In the future he will make you comfortable." Feng Xianxian could not move and could only cry. Because she knew what it meant. The truck was still moving forward. It was getting further and further away from Tang Yan. What should she do? What could she do? Along the way, Su Che ran at full speed, not daring to slack off at all. In only 2 hours he arrived at the exit of the highway ahead of time and waited at the toll booth. Then he took out a photo and the license plate number and said to everyone at the toll booth, "If you see this car, please stop it. My pregnant sister has been kidnapped. Please pay attention. The police are also chasing after her." After the toll collectors at the toll booth saw this, they silently remembered it in their hearts. About an hour later, the truck with the 2 license plates drove into the toll booth. The toll collector immediately informed his colleagues. However, they did not know what was going on. They were more afraid that Su Che was the bad guy, so after some discussion they stopped the car for inspection. Perhaps he realized that something was wrong, so the man driving the car wanted to break through the barrier and run away. However, before he could change gears and speed up, his body was pulled out of the window by a strong force. Then the toll collector immediately helped and controlled the car. "What are you doing? You're scaring my pregnant wife." The middle-aged woman immediately blocked Feng Xianxian, but Feng Xianxian pushed her away with difficulty. I don't know them." After Su Che dealt with the young man, he went to the front of the car and saw Feng Xianxian lying in the back. He immediately felt relieved. Su Che. When she saw Su Che, Feng Xianxian's tears immediately came out. At this moment, Tang Yan's car also arrived at the toll booth. He did not even stop the car and jumped off the motorcycle. He walked forward and saw Feng Xianxian lying in the car safely. Then he grabbed the middle-aged man and the woman in the car, threw them on the ground and beat them up. "Enough." Su Che stopped Tang Yan. "They are ordinary people. They can't withstand your fist. If they die, how are you going to take responsibility?" Tang Yan's fist was covered in blood. He punched the road and the bones of his knuckles were exposed. Just wait to go to jail. If it weren't for the fact that he had to take care of Feng Xianxian, he would have torn these people into pieces. However, his only trace of rationality pulled at him. So he stumbled to his feet, but after taking 2 steps he fell in front of the car. "Captain Tang? Captain Tang?" Feng Xianxian heard it and was very anxious. Tears flowed out uncontrollably. Why were there so many injuries on his body? Soon the ambulance and police car arrived. After understanding the situation, the 3 human traffickers were brought back to the police station, while Tang Yan and Feng Xianxian were sent to the nearest hospital. Su Che stood guard outside the operating theater with his arms crossed. He had not let Xianxia down. He had finally brought them back. However, looking at Tang Yan's crazy look, Su Che could not help but sigh. Something like this happened to Muqiqi, Xianxia would probably drop an atomic bomb on Jianchuan. Feng Xianxian had not inhaled much of the drug. Fortunately, it did not hurt the child in her stomach. However, Tang Yan's condition was much more serious. He had a fracture and a spleen rupture. He had to undergo a second surgery and he was bleeding profusely. If Feng Xianxian did not find him, he might die. Soon Xianxia received news that the person had finally been found and was safe. However, if he was placed in a remote hospital, it was inevitable that Jin Bo's people would not target him. Therefore Xianxia sent 10 bodyguards over. In addition to the people from the police station, even if Jin Bo had the intention, it was impossible for him to take advantage of the situation. Muqiqi, who was at home, finally heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 858. In the evening, Jie City was still shrouded in the setting sun. Feng Xianxian woke up and forced herself to sit up. Old Qing was guarding the door. When he heard the noise, he quickly turned around. "Xianxian, you're finally awake." It's fine. Everything's fine. You and the child are fine. It's just that you didn't eat much, so your body is weak. Old Qing quickly said. I'll go heat up some food for you. Eat some first. Where's Tang Yan? Old Cheng's expression froze when he heard Feng Xianxian ask about Tang Yan. Captain is still in the operating theater. He's been in there for more than 2 hours. When Feng Xianxian heard this, she struggled to get out of bed, but she was stopped by Old Cheng. Xianxian, so many people went through so much trouble to save you, not to let you ruin yourself like this. Do you know? Last night, Captain Tang almost lost his life. He was so seriously injured. He got out of bed after the surgery just to find you. Feng Xianxian was stunned. I'm sorry. You don't have to say sorry. Captain Tang almost went crazy. We all have to thank you for being safe and sound. At this point, Old Cheng's eyes turned red. I've never seen Captain Tang lose control like that. Do you know? In the afternoon he almost beat the 3 people who kidnapped you to death. In the past, I always thought that Captain Tang was a cold person and that women who followed him wouldn't be happy. But after watching Captain Tang for the past 2 days, I think you're worth it. I'll go heat up the food for you. Rest well first. When Captain Tang comes out, I'll tell you. Feng Xianxian didn't move. She paused and asked Old Qing, does Chi-Chi know? How can I not know? President Xing was involved the whole time. Isn't this all because of Chi-Chi? Then, can you lend me your phone? I'll tell them that I'm safe. That's right. After saying that, Old Qing took out his phone to unlock it and found Mu Chi-Chi's phone number. Chi-Chi is sick. Comfort her. Feng Xianxian nodded and dialed the number. Perhaps she knew that there was news, so Mu Chi-Chi picked up almost instantly. Senior Brother Qing, it's me. Feng Xianxian's eyes were red and her throat was burning. Chi-Chi, you damned woman, where have you been? Who are you trying to make? Mu Chi-Chi scolded her. Do you want to drive everyone crazy? Mu Chi-Chi scolded her. Do you want to drive everyone crazy? Sorry my ass. Mu Chi-Chi couldn't help but curse. We'll settle the score when you come back. You should rest first. Okay, Feng Xianxian answered with a sobbing tone. The 2 of them did not say much because they could not explain everything in a few words. Right now, Feng Xianxian was most worried about Tang Yan. Soon, Senior Brother Qing entered the ward with a bowl of porridge and handed it to her. This is the first time I've taken care of a woman. Please make do with it. Feng Xianxian had no appetite now, but in order not to worry others, she still obediently ate a big bowl. Captain Tang is out of danger. He can come out of the operating room in 10 minutes. So you can rest assured, right? Feng Xianxian nodded while crying, although she could not help but want to go to Tang Yan's side. Meanwhile, Su Che returned to Jianchuan to report to Xiao. You've worked hard. We've saved him, but the conflict with Jin Bo in the future is inevitable, Su Che answered. Xiao handed the information that his secretary had sent him in the afternoon to Su Che. Didn't I ask you to investigate his relationship with the Song family? Now he's moved all his educational institutions and financial companies to Jianchuan. He wants to compete with you, President. Su Che took it and started reading. We'll talk about this in the future. Keep an eye on Tang Yan. You've worked hard during this period of time. Get off work early today. Xiao picked up his coat and planned to go home. Su Che was stunned for a moment, but he still nodded. This was because being by Xiao's side made him busy. Now that he was free, he suddenly did not know what to do. After all, he was a person who had nothing to worry about. Thinking of this, Su Che rode his bike to J City. It was better to help watch over him tonight. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Tang Yan finally got off the operating table and was sent to the general ward. However, the doctor gave him a death order. You must stay in bed for half a month. Otherwise, don't even think about keeping your life. The current Tang Yan was even more spectacular than in the morning. He was almost wrapped in gauze like a mummy. Feng Xianxian was finally able to enter his ward. Old Qing borrowed a wheelchair and pushed her to Tang Yan's bedside. Seeing that there was not a single part of this man's body that was unharmed, Feng Xianxian held Tang Yan's face with both hands and buried her head in tears. When Old Qing saw this, he quietly left the ward and considerately closed the door. Perhaps it was because he had been worried about her, so Tang Yan opened his eyes and saw Feng Xianxian in front of him. He opened his mouth, but he could not say anything. His voice was as hoarse as sandpaper rubbing against a stone. When Feng Xianxian saw him open his eyes, she could not help but cry out. How could you do this? How could you be so injured? It's good. that you're fine. Tang Yan moistened his throat and squeezed out these words with difficulty. Are you stupid? Who asked you to work so hard? I don't need it, you know. Seeing you like this, I'd rather be the one hurt. Nonsense. Tang Yan immediately stopped her. How can a man let his woman get hurt? Besides, you're still pregnant with my child. How can I let you get hurt? Do you know that I wish I could? I know everything. You fool, I know everything. Feng Xianxian lay on Tang Yan's chest and cried bitterly. What should I do if something happens to you? Have you ever thought about it? Tang Yan did not say anything and let her cry because he knew that she had been worried and wronged for the past 2 days. Now if she cried, she would be able to vent all the negative emotions in her heart. I don't know anything, because I only know that without you by my side I'd rather die. Xianxian, it wasn't until the moment you disappeared that I deeply understood how important you are to me. Don't leave me in the future, okay? I can't take this kind of loss anymore. Feng Xianxian lay on Tang Yan's chest and kept nodding. Tears welled up in her eyes. I won't leave you again even if I die. Tang Yan wanted to get up and kiss Feng Xianxian's forehead, but he pulled at his wound. Seeing this, Feng Xianxian could not help but laugh angrily. Who told you to move around? After saying that, she leaned over and kissed Tang Yan's dry lips. I'll be by your side forever. We won't be separated. Chapter 859. Soon the police reported Qing Bin's case. However, Qing Bin had been executed and Song Qiaoji had failed to hold on to Feng Xianxian. Jin Bo was furious and began to suspect if Xing Kai had contacted Xing Xiao. After all, the night before the incident, Jin Bo and Qing Bin had spoken on the phone. This mission failed. It meant that someone had leaked information to Xing Xiao. This person was none other than Xing Kai. Song Qiaoji took advantage of Tang Yan's injury to escape home. Jin Bo could not blame her. Even if she was wild, she was still his daughter. Being hung on a cliff by Tang Yan, she would definitely be afraid. Moreover, at that time he was heartless and did not care about his daughter's life or death. Song Qiaoji did not hold a grudge against him. If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame the person who had informed Xing Xiao. Then Jin Bo had Xing Kai tied up and locked in a small dark room where he could not see the light of day. He had his men interrogate him. Co Xing, what Mr. Jin hates the most in his life is betrayal. He trusted you so much and even handed Chongrong Electronics over to you. Aren't you letting him down? Xing Kai's hands were tied and he hung in the air. His expression was a little wooden. I don't know what you're talking about. If you hadn't tipped Xing Xiao off, how would he have known that Miss Song was helping Qing Bin? I don't know what you're talking about. The Xing family and I are irreconcilable. How could I help Xing Xiao? It looks like you want to taste something even more powerful. In the dark and boundless room, Xing Kai's screams could be heard. Mixed with the humidity of the basement, it could not help but make one's heart tremble. After Song Qiaoji's identity was exposed, of course, she could not return to the hospital to work, so she followed Jin Bo to serve him. Mr. Jin, Xing Kai still refuses to confess. He insists that he doesn't know anything. The interrogator tortured Xing Kai for an entire night, but he did not get anything out of him. I'd rather kill 1,000 wrongly than let one go. Xing Xiao made me lose 2 helpers and even saved Tang Yan. It's not too much for me to make the Xing family lose 1 person. Dad, Qing Bin didn't tell Xing Kai about me. Why is Xing Kai to blame? Song Qiaoji did not understand. And think about it, if Xing Kai had known, Xing Xiao wouldn't have allowed me to stay by Feng Xianxian's side for so long. Didn't you have a use for him? Why are you venting your anger on him now? After Jin Bo heard this, he looked at his daughter in confusion. Are you sure he doesn't know? Think about it. Qing Bin went crazy for revenge. Why would he tell Xing Kai about such an important matter? Song Qiaoji asked Jin Bo in return. Just to test whether Xing Kai is loyal or not. Jin Bo thought about it and felt that it made sense. But now I've already used a heavy punishment. If you really want to keep Xing Kai as a pawn, then leave him to me. I promise that he will never betray you, Song Qiaoji promised Jin Bo. Your brother will be back soon. Take care of these things quickly. Jin Bo's reply was a tacit agreement. Why did he insist on keeping Xing Kai alive? Because after his son returned, he would make even bigger moves against Jianshuan. At that time, it would not be easy to find a scapegoat. A person as suitable as Xianxia was one in a million. Song Qiaoji nodded and went to the basement. Seeing the man covered in wounds, Song Qiaoji felt that this was the most manly Xianxia had ever been. She had used so many tools to extort a confession, but he did not say a single word. Then Song Qiaoji had someone send the unconscious Xianxia to her new residence. Then she personally stitched up Xianxia and applied medicine. Because there was no anesthetic, Xianxia woke up. When he saw Song Qiaoji, he frowned and looked defensive. Don't move. You're seriously injured now. If you want to live well, then listen to my arrangements. As Song Qiaoji applied the medicine for him, she said to him seriously, you know your situation. If you follow my father, you'll only die. Although I don't know who pushed you in back then, I believe that the Sheng family wants to drag you out. You, our godfather's daughter? Although I'm his daughter, I'm just one of his many daughters. I'm not worth much, Song Qiaoji explained. Because of your news, Xing Xiao saved Tang Yan, but you're in danger because of it. Do you blame him? Xianxia didn't know what to feel. The reason why he gritted his teeth was because he knew that as long as he admitted it, there would only be a path to death. I'm not as noble as you think. I hate the Sheng family. This is deep-rooted. Besides, I'm not helping him. I'm just helping myself. After you leave my door, don't trust anyone, especially my father. But you have to pretend to obey him. That way you'll live longer. After Xianxia heard this, he sneered. You should know your role. From the beginning, you were the scapegoat that my father chose. As for whether you were going to replace him or my brother in the end, no one knows. Then why are you doing this? Xianxia looked up at Song Qiaoji. You're Jin Bo's daughter. Why, whether you believe it or not, I want you to live. After saying that, Song Qiaoji helped him treat all his wounds. Life isn't as bad as you think. Many things are caused by the demons in your heart. You're not as bad as you think. Just because I helped Xing Xiao. Xianxia sneered coldly. If I had known that I would suffer such torture, I wouldn't have. You knew. You know what kind of person my father is. Xianxia didn't say anything after being directly cut off by Song Qiaoji. Because you trust your brother Xing Xiao more from the bottom of your heart. You seem to know the Xing family very well. If you want to deal with an enemy, you have to understand their internal conflicts, don't you? Song Qiaoji's words were also a little sarcastic. You can sleep here today. When you go back tomorrow, think about what I said. I don't understand you. Tang Yan had said the same thing yesterday. There's food in the fridge. If you're hungry, you can eat it yourself. After saying that, Song Qiaoji put away the medical kit, took her bag and hurried out the door. She was also involved in the kidnapping of Feng Xianshan. Originally, this matter could have been resolved perfectly, but there was a problem with the middle-aged woman. If Tang Yan wanted to pursue the matter, then so be it. However, she didn't worry about this matter because Jin Bo would definitely think of a way to suppress it for her. Xianxia touched his wound and sat motionless on the sofa. Because he suddenly realized that other than Gu Ziling's family, he also hated himself the most. Xing Zhao's words of letting bygones be bygones almost made him pay with his life. Chapter 860. Tang Yan had a fever for a day and a night. In the evening, he was transferred to the hospital in Jianshuan. When Professor Tang and Mrs. Tang received the news, they rushed to the hospital. When they saw their nephew in such a state, Professor Tang almost cried. Xianxian, you haven't slept for a day and a night. Now that Tang Yan is back, your aunt and I are here to guard him. You should go back and rest. Professor Tang saw Feng Xianshan's haggard face and quickly persuaded her. Now that Qing Bin has been brought to justice and there are so many police officers accompanying him, don't drag yourself down. When the time comes, won't his heart ache? That's right, Xianxian. Go back and pack some clothes for Tang Yan, Mrs. Tang said as she grabbed Feng Xianshan's hand. Feng Xianshan wanted to wait for Tang Yan to wake up, but when she thought of her own condition, she did not insist. Xiao Xing felt guilty about Feng Xianshan being kidnapped, so she walked up to Feng Xianshan and lowered her head. Sister-in-law, I'll send you home. This time I promise to complete the mission. Feng Xianshan did not blame her at all. Soon Xiao Xing sent Feng Xianshan back to the villa. However, when she opened the door, she heard Mu Qiqi's voice behind her. Feng Xianshan turned around and saw her. Her eyes reddened. Mu Qiqi did not say anything. She went forward and hugged her. Who are you trying to scare to death? I'm sorry, I haven't slept well for the past 2 days. Dark circles have appeared under my eyes. It's all your fault. Wuxia gently patted her shoulder. Do you know how much I wanted to come down from above? I tried my best to hold it in. Then I thought, if this person really doesn't come back, what should I do in the future? Who should I take revenge on? At that moment, Xianxia could not say anything. She could only let Wuxia vent her anger. Because she knew that Wuxia had been suffering for the past 2 days. Then Xianxia saw Xianxia behind Wuxia. She let go of Wuxia and walked up to Xianxia. She bowed deeply. Thank you, Zhou Xian. Xianxia did not answer. Instead, Wuxia helped her up. At least you're decent. Come in. I'll go pack some clothes for Tang Yan and get Xiao Xing to bring them over. After confirming that you're fine, I'll go home. Wuxia shook her head. Whenever she brought Xianxia with her, she would feel extremely anxious. She was afraid that Xianxia would be threatened like Tang Yan. Hey, then you can go back. I bought you a new phone. Don't lose it again. Before Wuxia left, she took out her phone from her bag and handed it to Xianxia. Look at how worried I am. I got it. Let's go back. There are 2 of you now. Wuxia hugged her again before walking up to Xianxia. Xianxia held her neck and brought her back to the banyan courtyard. In fact, Xianxia knew very well that seeing Xianxia go through this made her very panicked and uneasy. Actually, you don't have to worry so much. Xianxia stood behind her and said in a low voice, your man is not so easily tricked. But I'll be tricked very easily. Wuxia did not have that confidence in herself. Xianxia knew that she felt sorry for him, so he did not say anything else. He took a step forward and held her hand. After accompanying her home, he went out again because he had not heard from Xianxia for 2 days. If Xianxia was suspected by Jinbo, then no matter what method he used to contact Xianxia, it would only push Xianxia deeper into the abyss. Although Tang Yan and Jinbo were the ones who had fought with Qingbin, the ones who were really competing in the dark were him and Jinbo. Once Qingbin died, Jinbo's fear of him would definitely deepen. Similarly, he had to drag Xianxia out of the abyss as soon as possible. Wuxia watched Xianxia go out. Although she really wanted to see Tang Yan, she did not want to experience such a thrilling separation because she did not believe that she would be lucky enough to be safe. Mama Xing seemed to have seen through her thoughts and said, Xiaoqi, actually, you don't have to be so nervous. Mommy, you have to be nervous. There's a 100% chance of an accident happening. Before that person is caught, I'll try my best not to leave the house. Anyway, the outside world is saying that I'm seriously ill. If I go out, wouldn't it attract attention again? Mama Xing stroked her hair with heartache. You care too much about 8th brother. Is that so? Yes. Mama Xing nodded. There's nothing wrong with that. I admit it. It was only a few months, not a lifetime. Wuxia did not think of this as so tragic. Besides, weren't all celebrities like this when they got pregnant? She enjoyed it and did not feel that there was anything to feel sorry for. In the afternoon, Zhongting. Su Che followed Xing Zhao's instructions and went to inquire about Xianxia. In the end, he found out that Xianxia had already returned home. He's covered in injuries. He must have been tortured, but Jinbo let him go. This doesn't seem like Jinbo's style. Xianxia frowned and his expression was fierce. Su Che had been with him for so long, so he more or less knew that this was a sign before he got angry. What does the president plan to do next? I'll drag Xianxia back now. Jinbo will definitely try his best to get rid of him because he already knows a lot of Jinbo's secrets. Unless he's still useful, Jinbo won't keep him alive. After saying this, Xianxia fell into deep thought. How big of a trap would he have to set for Xianxia to be safe? Or could it be that he had to figure out what happened 25 years ago and fight Jinbo head-on? Would there be an end to this matter? Xianxia thought that he should go to the Shen family again tonight. After Xianxia was saved by Song Qiaoji and returned home, he saw Jinbo at home. Because his body was covered in injuries, it helped him hide his emotions so Jinbo could not see the fear and disgust on Xianxia's face. Kai, don't blame me for being so strict with you. I'm afraid. I know, Xianxia replied lightly. Come, sit on the sofa. Jinbo pointed at the sofa and said, I believe you know that Qiaoji is my daughter. If you like her, let her take care of you. She's more considerate than that tigress at home. Godfather, Miss Song is your daughter. I won't have any improper thoughts. It's okay. In a few days my eldest son will be returning to China. At that time I'll introduce you to him. Also, I'll announce in public that you're my godson. In the future I won't let anyone bully you. Thank you, godfather. Xing Kai did not forget Song Qiaoji's instructions. He had to obey him and not disobey him. Only then could he truly save his life. What are you thanking me for? After pretending to care, Jin Bo comforted Xing Kai and left his house. Then Xing Kai saw a photo of him and Gu Xiling. Everything started with Gu Xiling's grandfather. Chapter 861. After nightfall, Xing Xiao brought Mu Qiqi back to the Shen family. Old Master Shen saw that the little one looked good. As if presenting a treasure, he led Mu Qiqi to the study and gave her a brocade box. This is my gift for my little great-grandson. Grandpa, you're too stingy. Grandpa Xing knew that I was pregnant, but he said he would give me all of Huang Yao's shares. Mu Qiqi deliberately teased him. How can that be the same? Your grandpa isn't a businessman. He can't take out tens of thousands. If you want it, then take it. If not, then forget it. The old man was angry and turned his back to Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi chuckled and hugged the old man's arm. I'll be happy with whatever you give me, Grandpa. Hindsight. So, Grandpa, be more generous. Don't be outdone by your little great-grandson. The old man pouted. He was stunned by this little one's coaxing. Xing Xiao could not help but laugh secretly when he saw this. This little one was actually making fun of her grandfather. Xing Xiao turned around and went to Shen Jianchuan's antique room. He saw that he was wearing a vest and standing in the middle of a pile of antiques. He did not feel out of place at all. Shen Jianchuan returned to his room and asked, "Did the matter with Tang Yan go smoothly?" It's precisely because it went too smoothly that there's a hidden danger. Xing Xiao looked up at his father-in-law. Xing Kai. Shen Jianchuan thought for a moment and sat down on the sofa. This is really a problem. The battle with Jin Bo is just the beginning. I don't know how many years this path will take. Now that Xing Kai is stuck in the middle, it's really uncomfortable. Do you have any thoughts? Xing Xiao shook his head. Xing Kai has a lot of thoughts and is not easy to control. Even if we set a plan for him today, he will soon be able to overthrow it himself. Brother is yours. You know better than us what kind of person he is. If you really want to pull him back, put him in the most obvious place so that Jin Bo won't have the strength to deal with him. I think this is probably old Master Xing's wish, right? Xing Xiao did not answer, but Shen Jianchuan laughed. It's not strange at all. This is the human heart. After saying this, Shen Jianchuan glanced at Xing Xiao again. All these years, you haven't been forced by old Master Xing into a headstrong personality. You've shouldered the responsibilities of a man well. Xing Xiao turned to Mu Qiqi, who was outside the door. If it hadn't appeared, perhaps he would still be the cynical crown prince. In this life there would not be much change. Jin Bo's son, you'll be back in a few days, right? So you don't have to worry. Xing Kai's matter lacks an opportunity. He's being suspected now. It's best if you don't care and let Jin Bo be completely at ease. Outside the door, Mu Qiqi was very impatient. She poked her head into the room and said, I've never seen a father-in-law and son-in-law like you. You talk so much. Go out and accompany her, Shen Jianchuan said to Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao nodded slightly and stood up. He was dragged to the sofa by Mu Qiqi, looking angry. Grandpa, let me tell you, I found a helper. I don't believe that my Master Xiao can't beat you. Eighth brother, let's play. Don't cry if you lose, Xing Xiao said proudly. After resting in the hospital for 3 days, Tang Yan wanted to get out of bed and walk again. When Feng Shanshan saw him get up, she felt as if a knife was being twisted in her heart. When Feng Shanshan's eyes turned red, Tang Yan could only surrender. Okay, I won't get out of bed. Do you think you only suffered a few punches? A few of your ribs were clearly broken, Feng Shanshan said as she wiped her tears. I just want to go to the bathroom. Why didn't you say so earlier? I'll support you. Feng Shanshan's face was completely red as she helped Tang Yan to the bathroom. You've already seen it. Why are you still shy? Seeing that she was avoiding him, Tang Yan could not help but want to tease her. That's different. Feng Shanshan helped him back to the bed. Then the nurse did her rounds. That night the entire ward became quiet. Feng Shanshan had been sleeping on the bed next to Tang Yan for the past 2 days. which made him very uncomfortable. Will you sleep beside me tonight? But you're injured. I just want to hug you. I want to make sure you're by my side, Tang Yan said softly. Feng Xianxian had no ability to resist at all, so she nodded. Then be gentle. I'm afraid it'll tear your wound. The two of them lay quietly on the bed. Tang Yan took a deep breath behind Feng Xianxian. Qing Bin's matter has finally come to an end. Okay. Feng Xianxian nodded. From now on no one will threaten your safety. You knew that I wasn't in Qing Bin's hands, so why did you still go to the appointment? Because I want him to die. I don't want innocent people to sacrifice themselves for us. When he said this, Tang Yan's tone was very sharp. Feng Xianxian could not help but tremble. It's just that I went crazy, but Xianxia made me disappear in a reasonable manner. This person is too scary. Because he knows that Qing Bin is your not. This is the best outcome. Not wanting to mention that name again, Tang Yan hugged Feng Xianxian tightly and said, Sleep. I'll be by your side, always. Without the threat, Feng Xianxian finally relaxed and had a good night's sleep. Late at night it was drizzling in Jianchuan. When Mu Qiqi woke up and saw that there was no one beside her, she knew that Xianxia was still in the study. So she put on her coat and quietly pushed open the door of the study. In the room, Xianxia was wearing a black shirt. There was an indescribable sexiness to him, especially when he revealed his collarbone. Mu Qiqi felt that she was about to have a nosebleed from this man. What's the problem? It's so late and you're still not sleeping. Xianxia saw her sitting on him and subconsciously hugged her. Xingkai. What happened to Xingkai? He spread the news and was targeted by Jinbo. He's been tortured for a few days. After Mu Qiqi heard this, she wrapped her arms around Xingzhao's neck. My man, right? There's always a way to solve problems. In this world there's nothing that can't stop him. It's just that you haven't thought of it yet. Your trap is full of tricks and strange tricks. You can even pull Captain Tang back, let alone a mere Xingkai. Thank you for thinking so highly of me. Xingxiao looked at this thing and scoffed. My son and I will cheer for you. I want a daughter, Xingxiao answered as he looked at her belly. No, I just want to bully my son. Who told you to always bully me here? My son is like you. I feel comfortable bullying him. You're a medical student. Don't you know that the chances of a son resembling a mother are higher? Mu Qiqi was speechless. It was said that a pregnant woman would be stupid for 3 years. She was only 2 months pregnant and she was already this stupid? But I still want a son. Moreover, I've already chosen a name. Fifth aunt said that the child's name should be grand. I don't think it's grand enough. It has to be domineering, so, if I really have a son, I'll call him Xingbatian. You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.